we'll have 4 regions represented in the semifinals. It would be ideal.
That would be pretty good. Otherwise, we'll have BLG versus JDG, a team kill in the semifinal, which is definitely still cool. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing it because I think the upgrade that we got from the JDG that we saw only recently to the first time out is vastly different. I think that this team has really looked better and better throughout the tournament. And here we are into the HyperX Champion Select. And we have Pantheon and the Rumble both taken away as there is a Jarvan being gotten rid of there as well. As let's just do a bit of a name check. Okay. We're okay. We're okay in this one.
Yes. As
LYON will be taking away that job. And we'll see what the next ban is going to be.
This is actually the perfectly aligned champ select graphic for what our old expectations would be.
I know, it's beautiful.
JDG's blue side, LYON is second pick. No
honestly,
confusion here.
Maybe LYON are my favorite team because they chose second pick to guarantee that everything is normal.
Thank you.
And that is just beautiful. I did love, you mentioned it already, the Tabe interview yesterday.
Yeah.
He has gotten so eloquent. He was using some really big words. I was extraordinarily impressed, but it was what he was saying that I think was the most important, as I really did like the conversation about squares.
Yeah, well, I'm going to move past drafting for triangles or drafting for squares.
Why? I love shapes.
What I heard from the interview was that JDG, when they were struggling, was trying to really sync up support jungle. But when they found their footing and made it to second seed in the LPL, they were literally just slamming whatever bottom lane would be most powerful, so Gala and Vampire could just run the game and then open things up from there. However, losing to Gen G, who can just win every lane, made him reconsider it. But I would still say that generally speaking, this tournament, aside from the Gen G games, has pretty much been dominated by whoever can get the stronger bot lane. And without Karma being banned, I get a little bit concerned. So what LYON has done is they banned the Ezreal Karma combo, left Orianna up. They get the first pick Orianna, and I wouldn't be shocked if Berserker Isles have something else they would like to play with Karma.
You could, because they banned the Jarvan as well, you could just slam Sivir Karma and just have the really go fast bottom lane, which does work very well in lane as well because you have infinite wave clear. You basically get a free pass down there, which wouldn't be a bad thing. And then Berserker can certainly get some carrying done in the later stages. Varus also teams up with Karma relatively well, but it's a little bit of a different story. Is Inspired going to hover the Nidalee, obviously?
We'll see. Ashe Seraphine has been getting a lot of game 1 play as well, but I remember yesterday Ashe Seraphine into Ezreal Karma was very winning for Ezreal Karma, but what LYON has done here is something they did all throughout LCS playoffs where they'll do a control mage trade. They would often do Orianna or Azir, but they make sure they control the Nocturne. Because then anytime there's a side lane, Inspired can swing that matchup with either the Azir or the Orianna on his side. But with the Orianna nerfs, I'm not sure if Saint would still prioritize the Azir on 3, and not surprised if they lock in the Karma. I'm a little bit surprised that LYON didn't pick it early.
Yeah, this is the thing though, because we've seen Sivir picked into Varus all the time, and now they get access to the Karma instead. I wouldn't be surprised if this was just a full bottom lane lock-in for JDG with the most coveted mid laner on the patch on top of it, outside of the Rise, which is just a little bit ridiculous at the moment. But as far as what was available, I really do like it. If that is what they go with instead, it will be the Xin Zhao as the option into the Nocturne. So dodging the Sivir, but we'll still have to deal with that from Junjie, certainly one of his favorite champions.
Yeah, game 1 of Fearless, so still a lot of AD carries up. They're not going to be worried about whatever bans LYON can throw at them and would rather just secure what may be the strongest jungler here at the tournament, aside from Pantheon. It's tricky to say with Pantheon being banned, but we've seen some exceptional games from Xin so far here, and it is actually the Galio that they decide to throw into the Orianna. It's definitely a little bit more all-in and a little bit weaker directly in lane, but can still be really potent in teamfights.
But the thing that I love about it is we're representing double globals already, right? Yeah. Being able to cheat around the map, I think, is really important when you're against a team that is really, really good at playing around tempo markers, chat. Oh, no. JDG, very, very good at it. That one's for Vedius. Shout out to you, Betty. It's all right. Already, the Sivir has been banned away. A bit of a no-brainer there. And the Bard also taken away from Isles this time around. See what else they have in store here is, of course, could be some more support focus here on the side of JDG.
Now I'm thinking about trying to make tempo markers a real term again.
No, we can't.
You've really done it?
We're not allowed to do it. I just had to throw in one. I've got it out of my system. We were talking about it before, the shake your sillies out. Well, that's what I'm trying to do.
Tempo markers is not a real term.
No, it's not.
It could be. It could be.
It's very, very silly. Jin is going to be taken away, though.
Oh, no. Hey, buddy.
That's not very nice.
That's rude.
He's like, okay.
I was kidding.
It's okay. You're allowed to take it back. That's absolutely fine. One last ban here from JDG.
Was he making eye contact with Dokla?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, are we in-house for some reason? I was like, hang on a second. No, I don't think we are.
No, he can't hear us.
No. All right.
Okay, Sivir Jin, 2 logical bans against the Karma. Those are 2 very popular
I think a Rakan ban is really smart because Rakan Galio has been like a really good gargoyle delivery system, but this is the Nautilus, and I really hope, because Nautilus is often picked alongside an on-hit style of Varus, I'd much prefer to see that rather than the poke Varus that we've seen just kind of lose over and over again.
Well, I don't think you're going to get it, but we'll see. And even though Isles' Nautilus looked like one of his better champions so far at first stand, the Nico will give them a stronger laning phase. I think it is still, even though they have the globals, which is something that can punish pushing lanes, I do think it's really important to try and match the push that JDG can get with this Karma and now Yunara. I think it's going to be tough, though. I think Karma Yunara is going to be able to get the push. And trap card, Varus can go top now. This is what they did in the LCS playoffs into Morgan.
Okay.
So they can be picking, they can do a Kai'Sa Nico and throw the Varus top.
That would be a lot of fun. I mean, Kai'Sa fits into this composition incredibly well. Are they going to pull the trigger? You can see the camera is on Dokla now.
This is exactly what they did in LCS playoffs in their 3-1 over team. Look, they opt against it. They opt against it.
The dream isn't dead. It could be AD carry Nah, Jad.
I think that was a pretty good angle for Kai'Sa Nico, but they're going to go more standard here. Get both Renekton and Gnar. Gnar is still considered an answer pick into Renekton. I don't necessarily know if it's a counter pick.
I think if you have really good Naba management as well, it can be another really good way to get Galio into the mix. And already I do feel like this is a really robust composition out of LYON. They can snap their fingers, go for a dive, and Berserker is long enough range to be able to follow up on a whole lot of different things. I think it's the fact that Gala now has access to Inspire shields, so much extra movement speed, things like this. I think this Yunara could certainly become a gigantic problem, especially behind something like a Renekton, which can really just make things problematic in the mid game.
Yeah, really interesting game 1 draft, especially letting Karma through and Orianna through, and then actually JDG getting both of them. So can't say that wouldn't have been intentional by LYON, but it's definitely quite risky. Overall, JDG does have a lot of strong champions, but their actual hard engage is relatively low. They're kind of dealing with Renekton stun or Shockwave, but in Tabe we trust. If you're a JDG supporter, getting a lot of the power picks on the patch here in game 1.
Yep. In Tabe we trust has been a line for quite a while. I believe IG have not been trusting Tabe.
Ever since 2015?
Ever since 2015. But everyone else pretty happy to get behind him because he has found a whole lot of success on a whole lot of different teams. As ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to get onto the Rift for JDG versus LYON. Who is going to be heading towards the semifinals and who is going home? That is going to be the question here as we are onto the Rift for game 1.
And it looks like JDG very early on getting a Raptor ward as well as warding their own Raptors. So Inspired has tried to sneak in for some counter jungling. We've actually seen a couple mid laners die or nearly die going for that Raptor ward. Saint put a defensive ward, and now Junja and Inspired are going to run into each other. This is not good for Inspired.
I would say not as well, as Junja is just going to go over and just make sure that he is not hitting this.
Well, interesting.
Still, I mean, if Inspired sticks around,
I mean, Nocturne level 1 is very strong, and if Galio can move first, depending on how long this goes, Inspired played this really patiently. We'll see, though. It really will depend on the smite.
Well, vision control certainly going to be there on both sides, but not in that brush.
Yeah, and Junja's out of wards, so he can't see this. He actually has to give it up. This is really nicely done here by Inspired, getting an early lead here on Junja.
Yep. And remember, guys, live on patch 26.6, check out Warhound Center. A portion of the skins proceeds will be shared across the LoL Esports teams. As Berserker, he might need a little bit of help as well, as Gala has that Q fully stacked up, and he's down to about 200 health. Saint also finding a little bit of an angle here, but he's still looking a little worse for where the Clockwork windup coming in, as Honkyu really putting the pressure on it. In fact, there's kind of pressure on everywhere here from JDG.
When both junglers are seen completely on Raptors at the start of the game, you play incredibly aggressive. Also notice the ward that they placed in their own tri-brush. Inspired's going to try wraparound on mid, though. Saint's too low to be able to go in for CC.
Yeah, I don't think that this is going to be a successful one, as immediately over towards the Raptor camp here is Inspired.
Too slow.
We'll get the news that there is a Xin Zhao in the area, but he might be able to stop this red buff from going down, as Ginger is just going to head towards his Krugs.
Yeah, and also just a reminder, FlyQuest vs CFO had these two junglers playing against each other as well as Honkyu, and it was CFO who actually kind of ended FlyQuest as we know it. And after this game, they all scattered to different corners of the earth.
Yeah, that was a pretty incredible time for CFO as well, if I remember correctly. Bit of a Cinderella story. So let's see whether some revenge can be claimed here by Inspired.
I mean, very abnormal early jungle pathing here. Inspired getting slightly the better of it, although the Raptor camp will be faster to respawn for the side of JDG. And I would say, aside from the jungle stuff, the Galio and the Varus Nico are just getting kicked in.
It's a little bit of a boppening, isn't it?
Yes,
we
absolutely.
Could, go with something like that, as Saint actually realizes that he has to stick around. The Winds of War will deter Honkyu from staying around for too much longer, but I mean, this is a free lane for the Orianna, and that can be really dangerous. Come the mid game, as Dokla is going to get closed in on here by Xiaoshu. The Renekton, I mean, so many times we talk about the Gnar being a great pick into the Renekton, but I think at around this time, if you can close the distance and you're mini Gnar, the Renekton can really get some work done.
The matchup is Renekton favored until the Gnar can get Toppies, or the plated steel caps.
The plated steel caps, indeed.
Yeah, so Dokla wants to be able to stick around until he has enough to purchase that item. With the way the junglers have been completely shown, he knows he's going to be completely on his own. And here's the Raptor respawn, Inspired with the level advantage. Hasn't chopped, neither has Xin.
I've seen this one before, as this time there is vision for Ginger. Level 3 to level 4, though. I mean, this is dangerous times. And Inspired goes in, does manage to get the steal once again. Will now be going back. Well, maybe he could grab that scuttle before he goes home, but instead, just going to immediately reset.
Yeah, I think it's more important that he gets back on the map for the temple marker to collect one. And then now that he has the 3 items as well.
I feel like I've infected you. It's fantastic.
It can work.
All right, Slurkle goes out. You don't need to join me on that one. But that one will never die. I don't even know what it's called otherwise.
Is it a slowing circle? Is that why you call it a...
Yeah, it's a slow circle.
Okay, cool.
Circle that slows. There are a few other variations depending on what the circle does, but we won't need to go into it. As Isle's in a little bit of trouble here. Does take some damage from Vampire, but isn't too worried. And Berserker is sitting at full health, has this full wave to pick up for himself as well. So even though the CS numbers don't look so great here for Berserker versus Gala, it will be evening out quite well as this wave is slurped up.
Yeah, these lanes are very aggressive for JDG. It's pretty common as well, whether or not there were jungle shenanigans going on. The pre-level 6 Nocturne's not going to be applying any pressure anyways, but what this has done, what Inspired has been able to accomplish by keeping the Xin down is any of these lanes that are extremely low, there at least is no threat of dive. So Berserker's been able to keep his CS close, Saint's down 10, Dokla's down, was 11, now 9. So they at least haven't been dove yet.
Yeah, there's the Slurkle value coming on through there as the flash in from Gala, unable to take down Isles here. And getting the Yanara flash, actually a huge deal, as meanwhile, Junja taking a lot of damage. As Saint and Inspired trying to lock down that kill. No level 6 here for the Nocturne, though. Unable to get any follow-up, but still, it is Inspired with that advantage, the only one on LYON with one.
Yeah, he had a dagger up on Junja and then also pushes him off that crab, which was a delayed take. Now he can go clear his entire blue side of the jungle, maybe even hit level 6. So really strong early game by Inspired, which is kind of saving the 3 lanes that are all soft losing right now for LYON, even though none of them died.
Yeah, I do feel like the Galio losing lane is not something that you're going to be all that worried about, right? No. Galio is never really going to have a great time into the Orianna. What you want to play for is utilizing that global presence throughout this mid-game and possibly getting some pressure on these dragons. Because, of course, if they start up the dragon, Saint can always be there in the nick of time, even if he is still hanging out in that mid lane. And trying to get some control on these Drakes, I think, could be a good idea, given the fact that JDG's composition looks pretty robust as it scales towards the later stages.
Yep, and it gets more difficult now for the JDG bottom lane to play as aggressive. You can see the control ward in the river there for Saint.
Shockwave Justice Punch was a weird combination there, as Saint should be able to get himself out, but is looking a little worse for wear. Had to rely on the phase rush there, as Xiaoshu thrown against the wall by Dokla's Gnar.
See what Dokla has?
Oh, he has the
plated
steel caps Ninja Tabi.
So he's more comfortable in the lane now.
Yeah. Maybe we should call it Ninja Tabi in this game because Tabi is the coach, and so it makes more sense to use it this time around.
To use a 7-year-old item name?
Yeah, I think so. As Paranoia comes on through here, and the Gargoyle delivery is attempted to come on through. As Junja tries to take him down as Saint gets the knock-up on the Brambleback to save his life.
Saint ulting in there, that's a true teammate right there. Yeah,
LYON! And Isles is able to pick it up with the Blooming Burst! Oh, is it happening?
Berserker hit 6 and just ulted Gala, who was already down flash somehow. I think we missed when he burned the flash aggressively going for a kill.
Yeah, when they were going for the kill onto Isles earlier on, Isles gets the revenge a couple of minutes later.
Okay.
Oh, God. Okay, so what am I supposed to do here, Jat? I want to avoid any potential caster curse, but I do want to talk about the possibility of both of our Western teams making their way out today.
So I was reading a Reddit thread earlier about how this is the most one-sided international tournament in history based on percentage of series that end in 3-0.
Uh-huh.
And that technically didn't even change when G2 won against...
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that was another 3-0. So the next 3-0 actually means, in terms of percentage of 3-0s in an international, it will be the most ever.
Wow. Well, that's what we're chasing after. So it could be JDG that gives it to us. It could be LYON that gives it to us. And right now, LYON in a pretty good position as Saint absolutely fearless.
At 300 HP. He was going to reset anyway. It did help secure the kill, gets him the assist as well. And then just a max range RQ, and the double pop of the Nico Q gets him as well. So Berserker, after collecting enough CS against the Karma early, has taken the current upper hand in that bottom lane as well.
Yep, utilizing the power of Gumayushi there as well with his Varus skin. His former teammate, you could say, as of course they both came up through T1. As Junja going to be taking down the Grubs. And JDG, I think, not too worried about the fact that there is a 1.4K gold lead, but if LYON are able to utilize this to get some momentum in this game, this composition is really good at just saying, we're going to win now with their buttons.
They have the tools to engage, whereas JDG does not. JDG's composition works very well if they push lanes and are first to set up on the objectives, because they can just push you back with Karma Qs and move speed to kite you. But if they're trying to retake space without hard CC, it's actually quite difficult for them.
Well, Paranoia comes in once more, and the shockwave does come on down. Honku does drag back Saint, as now Junja trying to get something. Flash out from the Gargoyle, but I don't know whether he's going... Never mind! Junja realizing he just doesn't have the buttons.
I think he might have been able to get the kill, maybe, but didn't want to risk it, because if he goes in against that red buff Nocturne, he would have been handing a third kill over to Inspired. So punishing the no flash Orianna, Inspired has been really on point the first 10 minutes of this game.
Almost 1,000 gold in the lead. You can see that is half the advantage that LYON have right now as we tick over to 10 minutes. That is a huge deal. And the fact that he has a full item completed, I completely understand now why Junja did not try to do anything more. As here at 10 minutes, it is going to be a relatively late Dragon, but Inspired, I don't know whether he's going to get contested on this one.
Yeah, he's not going to be getting contested, but you got to watch top for Dokla, because Junja's decided Dragon's not possible, but he wants to think about going for this 60% health Gnar, but Dokla does a good job clearing the wave.
Yep.
We'll see if Xiaoshu decides to go in for a dive here.
They're actually trying to invest even more as he avoids the Wind Becomes Lightning, trying to get a little bit of value.
Galio's trying to support. Saint might be caught here.
Saint is in a little bit of trouble, but the Karma isn't going to do too much as Mega Gnar almost there as Dokla has the help of his friends and will be able to make his way out. So successful defense of the top side of the map, and they take the Dragon down. LYON ticking all the boxes.
Yeah, everyone moving up as well will mean they don't lose that mid wave. It will set Saint a little bit further behind, using his ultimate to get up there and then also taking a bunch of damage on the way up. But they do a good job getting the Dragon and covering the play to not allow this top lane to snowball out of control.
Well, Dokla now teleporting back in, a little bit of a dangerous maneuver, but like you say, those Tabis that he picked up earlier on, helping him stay alive here in this matchup. Wants to get towards that Black Cleaver as soon as possible by the looks of things, as Saint comes on over to try and deter Honku from doing too much more, as he does get taunted. Otherwise, not too much more to happen. And the thing that I'm looking at is the AD carry. And Berserker is ahead by a decent amount of CS, and a lot of the time, you'll see that you know, a team is winning around the map in these little skirmishes, in these little tussles, but just in the regular lane, things can be problematic. It's not happening here as Berserker is winning out, utilizing the power of this Varus, and now has the Ghost Blade completed as well, and also completes his quest. We'll be able to get that one done a little bit earlier.
Yep. So temporary gold lead jump, but that'll be equalized a bit when Gala completes the quest of his own. Just a lot of congestion of the vision here, but honestly, this is a difficult game for JDG to play from this point because of their overall lack of engage and the fact that, you know, the flashes do end up being kind of cycled down. Inspired misses the Q's, got to be a little careful about trying to all in. See if they can get first move from their bot lane, though. Yep,
Saint doesn't have the ulti available, so the heroic entrance has been really important defensively in a lot of these altercations. But Gala, I don't think is going to be able to walk in. The red buff. Still the idea is now Inspired looking for an opportunity. Saint, they're trying to stay spread because that shockwave is so dangerous from Honkyu. But it looks like LYON are just not going to risk it and will now walk their way out of the enemy jungle.
Yeah, has to back away after JDG did a good job staying grouped up. Inspired likely wouldn't have gotten anything if he goes in other than a bounty for the opponent.
Yeah.
So he's going to regret pressing that button. He loses a lot of pressure now while his ultimate is on cooldown. And it is a failed invade, so JDG wins a small battle there.
Yeah, not too bad. It will still be the heroic entrance coming back off cooldown now, though, as Saint, the couple of seconds left on that one. And I think the Gnar is out of the woods, right? As far as that top lane matchup, I think the Dokler is going to be feeling better and better as this game goes on and should be a menace in these side lanes. Can possibly teleport in when that Mega Gnar is available. I just really feel like LYON's go buttons are really going to be helpful here. As you mentioned, lack of engage has been a little bit of a problem. Obviously, with a Karma, you can kind of just turn throwing your body at the enemy into engage, as she can make people run really quick. And so Xiaoshu slicing and dicing into a backline might be a way to do it. But I feel like their composition did rely on getting advantages early on into the game and kind of snowballing through that way, making it so that you can never approach when they walk up to an objective. That is not the game that we're seeing here.
Yeah, I will say, like you pointed out, the Mantra E from Karma, as well as the Orianna move speed, they have good disengage too. So it's fairly difficult for Inspired to just rock up, try to ult on someone, and hope that the Galio CC comes on top of it, because they're probably moving away with their move speed anyway. But it does just give them comparatively more tools than JDG have to engage. Both comps are actually fairly low engage, which makes the initial setup all the more important. And the control wards, like the one Berserker is sitting on right now, extremely valuable, because that's how you could actually get an engage, is when the other team tries to check spots like that where they don't have vision.
I do like Missile Nocturne engage. That is one of my favorites, and that does put the ball into Inspired's hands. And we know that LYON does like to play around where their jungler is looking. So see whether that is what they're going to look for further into this game, as Vampire is towards that top side of the map. And it looks like Dokler is not going to be too worried about it. Only 74 gold between our top laners. And that is the only advantage, however small, that JDG do have on this map right now.
Pretty slow game. I mean, the fact that he's 2-0 with dealing only 2,200 damage, right? That means the fights that he's taken, he's generally killed the ones that he's been able to start. So another thing that we need to track about LYON when they have advantages like this, they don't usually progress the game that quickly because they like to freeze a lot of waves. Keeping the game on their side of the map until they're willing to retake space is a pretty, it's a favorite strategy of theirs. So not that Galio can necessarily get push on the Renekton bottom lane, but they don't necessarily feel like they need to apply a lot of side lane pressure. They're more about stacking these Drakes and making sure their gold lead gets as large as possible.
Well, LYON are going to be able to grab Double Dragon in this game. The two Tech Drakes going to be picked up, see what the soul is going to be. And it's a Cloud, finally. I feel like we've been denied Cloud souls this whole tournament.
I'm so happy it's a Cloud soul. That's the best. It's just a fast Drake is fun, right?
Exactly. We've been talking as well about JDG with their mantras and stuff like that. Imagine if they stacked up 4 Clouds as well.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Mantra Inspire as well as the Dissonance and all that sort of stuff. Man, they'd be running real quick.
This game is still really close.
It is.
By the way. It was an exceptional start by Inspired, but the game has definitely stalled out a fair bit. Now, all the quests have been completed across the board, so this is where we're sitting. It's 1,500 gold, even in mid, even in top. The advantage is mostly on the Nocturne, who currently doesn't have a meaningful advantage over Junja if you just look at the items. So LYON has to continue to play smart League of Legends.
I do think that if they keep stacking up these Drakes, right, you can play it relatively slow, because if, you know, the shoe's on the other foot, I was talking about how fun it would be to have a whole bunch of movement speed and things like this for JDG, but if LYON has it, I mean, they can start fights anytime. Speaking of which, as we're checking out the Coinbase gold grind, we have a flash coming out from Vampire to keep himself alive, and this is going to be a big problem, right? Getting wards deep into the enemy jungle is almost impossible when you're behind and you're playing an Enchanter.
For sure. I mean, that was the whole reason people didn't play Enchanters for half a decade, is they said, well, it's too hard to check for wards in the mid game. Then they removed lane swaps, so now the advantage of dominating lane outweighs the disadvantage of being a really squishy dude who dies when he tries to get vision control. So getting his flash, I understand. I think it's a smart play there by Inspired. Anyone he ulted, he's probably not going to kill because they all have flash, but the highest chance of a repeat kill is likely on Vampire.
Yep. And it's interesting that the enchanters that we do see all have an ability to speed themselves up.
Yeah, or like Nico, Nami, she
Lulu,
splits into two.
Karma, yeah, or be Nico and be annoying. And that is a decent way to do it as well. As all right, still 1.3k. This is like where I start to get a little bit worried, because extending gold advantages is generally something that you want to do as Isles. He's going to do exactly that, finds a snare on a Vampire as well, and if at first you don't succeed, grab the flash and try again.
That guy's no flash.
Yeah, he's dead.
Karma no flash. Kill
Still
it.
No flash. They could do it again.
they have 5 minutes from the first flash to try it again, which is really nice. I mean, you said this is the point where you get worried. My secret here is that I'm always worried whenever I'm watching a LYON game or an LCS game at an international event. It's never safe until it's over. Just keep that in mind.
I'll keep it in mind.
There's never do one of those, oh, now it's going to be an insurmountable lead, or surely with the Cloud Drake they can. No, it'll be over when the Nexus falls.
And this is also the closest thing to an OPL game that we've got as well, which is harkening back to my past.
Is it because there's one Australian player?
Yes.
And one Australian caster?
Yeah. And Isles also played on Legacy.
I think Doklas played in Australia.
Yeah, and Doklas was in Australia for a little bit, I'm pretty sure. Although that was after my time. But we've got a paranoia towards his top side of the map as Inspired just going in. We'll be able to get the flash out, and flashes after Honkyu as well, and he should be able to grab this kill. The Gargoyle's so late on this play, but it does not matter. Inspired going to be able to grab Honkyu here, and they should be able to get some extra push towards his top side.
Saint is assist maxing. Berserker threw out his ultimate there, actually. Was hoping to burn his cleanse, ends up just being no ultimate. I think that Saint will be able to collect the gold from that first turret of the game up top as well. So Inspired continuing to progress the game, getting flash and trading his own flash for the kill, definitely worth it.
Yep, and those nerves that I had, kind of dissipating, Jap, because they are making plays. No. They can't be in side lanes. And Doklas is going to continue to get more and more aggressive here, has his Trinity Force now completed. And man, I'm just feeling like it could be okay.
It's the power of the Nocturne. When LYON, this is much more the LYON that qualified for first stand in the LCS playoffs, because I'd say their series that they played earlier against Loud that went to 5 games, as well as the demolition that they experienced at Gen G, that looked a lot more like the things that they were struggling with during the lock-in regular season, when they were dropping a lot of games, lost a best of 3 to Disguised. So Saint's been really inconsistent, but when they play with the lead, they generally have been very solid.
Yeah.
Generally very solid. Not to say that this means they're going to win this game, Atlas.
No. No. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not allowing Caster Curses to reach in and ruin everything. I'm going to try and just assume that Chronicler was right and Caster Curses are not real. Even though, as we know, objectively, they absolutely are. And he was just silly. As let's have a look at here. The win probability looking pretty good for LYON. This would be where the Caster Curse would come through.
What a nice graphic.
Great graphic here.
Like that.
It's a very good graphic.
JDG's finally retaken the river. This would be their point of power to play off of. LYON, I'd say, has had control of this bush for 85% of the game.
Yep. Soul Point now available as well. Isles being a little bit tricky here. Remember, if JDG get control of this pit, it doesn't actually matter. LYON can always get in, you know?
True.
They throw an Inspired. They get Saint in on top as now Xiaochu possibly in a little bit of trouble, has to flash immediately. And they can follow, as we just explained. And the Renekton will be taken down now. JDG, no right to be in this area. As already LYON on this Dragon, looking for that Soul Point. Be able to get a whole lot of extra movement speed.
You can say JDG really wants to contest this anyway. They're kind of tired of sitting on 0 kills, but very risky here. Inspired, though, no flash on the flank. We'll have to run away.
Yeah. The clone of Inspired running away as well, so that is making me feel like perhaps it isn't him.
I think I was fooled. I think that was the clone of Inspired.
Yeah. No. I think Nocturne did get LeBlanc's passive at one point. I think you haven't been reading the patch notes. True. I know that because you told me that you weren't reading as many patch notes. No, I read them. I
just can't retain the information anymore.
Yeah, so you didn't retain the fact that Nocturne got deceived from LeBlanc.
Understood.
Yeah. Or it might just be that it was Isles the whole time. Not entirely sure.
The nice thing that they did there is they just waited for Dokla. So he got Meganar to kill the Renekton, and then they waited until he had Meganar again to take the Drake.
Yep.
So they're patient.
Honestly, patient. This is meticulous. Like, just destruction of JDG's stuff in this game. They're not giving them an opening. And it's disciplined League of Legends. It's kind of
is it now?
Beautiful to watch. As Isles, see, disciplined flash.
Good.
Gets him out of there.
Good.
That's on brand. That's still there.
Yeah. For a second, you thought maybe Inspired was picked out. But then he turned into Nico, and we knew it was Nico.
You know it's only one turret away from a perfect game?
This is a no flash for Renekton.
Well, it might be a no life for Renekton as well, as Dokla is going to dive on forward at the same time. There is Dominus running, but it is still a very scared Crocodile, and Dokla is going to be able to grab that kill. Playing through these side lanes, it looks absolutely beautiful here as 3-0-3 for Inspired on this Nocturne.
Things are looking good.
They are looking really good. Are we still worried, Jet?
Yes. One team fight. With all those bounties, you never know.
You're right. Well, Junja could be in a little bit of trouble himself as Saint. They're going to try and turn it on top of him. Pop Blossom, though, is going to look for Gala, who flashes out of the way. Junja, though, now by himself as Dokla wants to find an angle at the same time as Vampire should be able to get that snare to work out. But JDG, once again, are on the run.
Nice repel there by LYON, and you do the summoner check. See that they have burned flashes on jungle, bot, support. Inspired's ultimate 3/4 of the way back up, so this is a very good cooldown for them to play around for the next Baron or the next Drake.
Oh my goodness. Only good things here for LYON at this point in the game. 4,000 gold is their advantage, but the thing that's the most important to me is the fact that they've had a monopoly on these objectives. Outside of the Grubs did go over to JDG, it is looking absolutely fantastic here for LYON. And Grubs don't really matter if you never get to approach turrets.
Yeah.
Which is kind of looking like the situation here.
Who needs them?
Yeah.
Not LYON. Yet.
LYON got one game at least. Well, they don't. Not yet.
What are you doing?
That is getting ahead of themselves.
It's 4,000 gold. Calm down.
I'm just reading what's on the screen, okay? Not my fault. Okay. 4,000, still the lead.
No flash in? Nah, that would be bad.
Yeah, let's not fight against that guy, although he is going to try and fight them. Isles looking for that opportunity as Paranoia does come in. Teleport. Yeah, brings the Crocodile forward.
That's just a good map play right there. They use the Nocturne ult to disengage. That means Dokla can continue to push down the bottom lane with Trinity Force. He kills that turret very quickly. Very, very disciplined League of Legends right there. Inspired's going to keep clearing his jungle and knows that JDG used their turn right there, so the tempo marker means he can keep farming in the jungle.
Absolutely beautifully done. All right, Crystalline Overgrowth, just hit the turret one time, and it'll go pop. And
no, that's not going to kill the whole turret.
No. The plate,
though.
Look at the plate.
I know. It's not worth
you didn't even
risking
need
the game over that plate. There was...
You are worried, aren't you?
Well, I want to tell a joke, but I don't think I have time, because JDG might be panic engaging at this turret.
Well, Honky was certainly looking for a bit of an angle. Dash cannon in for the Orianna. But no, never mind.
There was this TikTok that the LCS had where Inspired had these teamfight comms where he said, keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting. Okay. But they just looped it over like a 30-second fight, his comms, as if he was just saying that for 30 seconds. I do feel like he's probably said, like, keep waiting.
We could bring up the comms and maybe it would just be that.
Just wait, we scale, like, for 25 minutes. Because just wait for my ultimate, just wait for me, over and over.
Do we agree with him?
It's working pretty well so far.
I know it absolutely is, but I think that they are still like extending this gold advantage in a beautiful way.
They are waiting for Inspired's ultimate every time.
They are definitely waiting. I think if they wait too long, there could be like a 7-item Yunara,
there could be trouble
an issue. So let's keep fighting in good positions.
Yeah, well, they're currently pushing this bot wave. I do want them to retake this space. Isles has no flash for a few more seconds. That was rather scary. Burns his heal for the move speed. They're just trying to get all the waves pushed and force JDG to respond. But if JDG really wanted to overcommit on this Drake, this would be the one to do so.
And that was the perfect time to get a kill as well. 20 seconds until this dragon is up and available. Thankfully for Isles, he's able to get himself out of there and holds onto the flash. Most importantly, Flash Pop Blossom going to be a big thing in this upcoming fight. And LYON as well, they have the poke advantage on top of everything. They have the engage advantage and poke advantage.
Yeah, and poke Varus, and no way to engage on the poke Varus unless he walks too deep. But yeah, they're all in on this because it is difficult for LYON to actually walk in here.
Well, they don't even have to, right? It is one Cloud Drake. You don't need to worry about it, but still, they are going to look for a fight. As Ingo's inspired, already down to 50% though, and he flashes to try and get himself out of the way. It is going to be the Drake secured by JDG, and they take down the Nocturne. The Varus already dead as well, as LYON are running away. Dokla flashing out of the back, but it should be Junja falling down as never mind. He's a Xin Zhao. He's basically immortal, and this could be the end of the advantage for LYON as JDG just wander towards the Baron.
It's an absolute domination by JDG in that fight. We've been talking this whole game about how JDG needs to be first on the objective, and they are first on the objective, and surprisingly, the impatience of LYON goes in here. Inspired wants to get the soul, does basically nothing with his original ultimate, almost dies, loses the smite, and at this point, the fight's a watch because they are inside the team of JDG. Renekton gets the perfect flank to shut down Berserker, and because of all of the bounties, as well as objective bounties, the game has just slingshotted back into, I believe it's going to be a gold lead when we come out of this replay for JDG.
No, it should be, as long as they've locked down this Baron, and if it's not a gold lead yet, it certainly will be soon. As the Rebel Baron power play sitting at 1,000 so far, but still with 2.5 minutes left to go.
You understand why I was nervous.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I was going to say that, but I felt like it wasn't the right moment. No, it wasn't the moment. And I needed to be excited for the overall
energy of the game. But I mean, inside, I'm dying.
It is still Soul Point, right? Yeah. And LYON lost a Cloud Dragon. Baron doesn't give as much as it used to. It's not over just yet. Correct. However, this is certainly, as you can see there with the gold difference, it's not looking phenomenal.
How's that win probability looking?
The win probability, I would assume,
is moving back to also being close.
Yeah. Although equalization,
3 Drakes to 2, LYON would still be advantaged based off that, or maybe not anymore.
It could be a wave. You know, it might undulate back the direction of LYON afterwards. We'll just have to see as Paranoia does come down, thinking that they might have found a Crocodile. And he is going to get a little bit frightened. Does get slowed up there as well. Pop Blossom invested to try and take him down as, my God, the damage! And going 1-for-1 is not what LYON was looking for as JDG with that Baron pushing up the bottom lane.
Yep, they needed to get that kill to have a numbers advantage to defend this turret, but now they are just hoping to trade for inhibitor turrets because this inhibitor is done for as Dokla tries to take it on the other side.
Yep, Dokla will be able to get that inhibitor turret on the other side of the map, so there is at least that, but he may not be able to get the inhibitor. Oh my goodness, that is okay, that's the Nico. I thought it might have been the clone, but it was not. That was just Isles falling down as Nexus turret number 1 is going to get taken. There is a Mega Knight here for Dokla, but he's losing his health so quickly because Gala has a few items put together and he is so scary in this game. Saint goes golden though, and there's a hail of arrows. Junja is still alive. They're just going to kill the Nexus, and JDG just went from losing this game to winning in the blink of an eye.
This year.
Oh,
because
that doesn't help my little theory.
Well, no, it does, because it's even greater that they overcome this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's see whether they can as we dive into the draft here for game number 2. Second pick here for LYON, as JDG will remain on the blue side. So thankfully, it's everything as we would have expected from 2025.
Once again,
we'd love to see that.
Yeah. So LYON would have had first selection. They would have selected second pick because they lost the previous game, and therefore JDG picks blue side after that one. And you do have to just completely mental reset. It is going to be a different game because it's Fearless. I think especially Karma Orianna are 2 big power picks that they did give over to JDG. I think they did have a good plan for it if you're trying to mentally reset LYON, saying we did a lot of good things that game, we need to continue to do these good things, and for the majority of the game we're in control. We just didn't sync up for that 4th Dragon in the right way and played a poor team fight. And then after that, the game fell out of their hands. So still winnable. I think their faces don't look super confident right now, but things can change.
I'm hoping that we do get to see some fun drafting as well, though, because there are some key picks that didn't really get a look in last time around. The one thing that hasn't been banned yet is the Rumble. We'll see whether JDG are going to take that one away or aim for a first pick on that one, as the Jarvan will be the decision. So we could be leaving a Rumble up and available. The Ambessa is another thing that has been pretty big this tournament. see what this final ban is going to be, whether they do just decide to get rid of the Pyromaniac Yordle, but instead it will be the Vi taken away. So Xiaoshu can go towards the Rumble if he'd like.
Absolutely. I do wonder if we're going to have to drop out of Champ Select because the JDG players are in the wrong order currently. Junji is not support and Honky is not playing jungle.
I thought that they were just like flexing.
If they really wanted to do this, I'd be all for it.
I think maybe we just run it. I want to see Honky in the jungle.
I agree.
I reckon that sounds like a whole lot of fun.
You were right about the Rumble, though. That's first picked.
Yep.
So we'll see what Dokla decides to answer that with. Galio's gone. The standard would be something like Ornn. Dokla's never been an Ornn enthusiast.
Yeah, you don't need to pick it right now either.
Correct.
There are some things that you can pick into the Rumble, but
Cassante.
Yeah, Cassante could be one of the options, and this has actually found a fair bit of success in the LCK where I'm from.
Yeah.
The Cassante into the Rumble has worked out quite nicely. So we'll see what Inspired is going to be collecting. Probably not going to be in Italy, but see whether he's going to be heading towards like mid lane pick, or I actually think picking jungle here makes a fair bit of sense as well, as the Jarvan and the Pantheon both banned away. We'll see what it is.
Zidnock turned down from game 1,
Ooh,
but
instead.
Corki Nami, I think, is a very good game 2 bottom lane for nearly guaranteeing prio, especially with Seraphine banned and Karma Nico being gone from game 1. So likely to see Nami taken as their third pick, unless JDG decides to try and steal it away with something like Lucian Nami.
Yeah, is Lucian Nami a thing that they could go towards? Is Annie is going to be the choice, so instead they're going to forego that, continue down the route of Fire, as the Wukong seems to be locked in here as well. So a lot of team fighting towards the top side of the map, a lot of setup as well, so they can sit on that barbecue forever, as Saint will be locking away that Nami like you were talking about. Makes a lot of sense here for Lion.
Are you a genius? How could you tell they locked in Wukong?
Because the Wukong's face was a picture on the floor outside.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and I've got eyes in the back of my head, so that's how I saw it. I was looking out the window
behind so apologies for the graphic at the moment. That is Annie Wukong on one side, and they're bringing it down. They might be redoing the champ select currently, or they're just going to continue drafting.
I really wanted to show off with my guesswork.
Yeah, I mean, we can see what's locked in. Yeah. We can just do draft off this to be completely honest.
But I have a feeling that they're probably going to put the players in the correct order. That's what I assume.
I'm trying to see Isles' the screen. They're still drafted. No, they're still drafted. If we can shift the camera more to Isles' screen, we can see the bands. Yeah.
Right. So now, turn around, Jat. Turn around. We've got to cast off the wall. That's what we're going for now.
Champ Select's still happening. Yeah. If they would give us the shot of a player's screen, we could see the bands.
Yeah,
but currently we can see the picks.
We need to get that put onto the screens behind the players. I feel like that would be very important for us to be able to cast off, not the screen that we would normally cast off.
Do you want to guess the bands?
Okay. I assume
that's too hard.
That we've got two. Okay. Lion are going to ban Bard and Lulu.
They need to ban the supports.
Bard and Alistar.
I mean, Lulu would be a pretty good ban, although Yunara is gone.
They don't have a lot of.
Akali and Nautilus banned on one side.
Akali and Nautilus banned on which side?
Well, maybe total.
That'd be JDG would have banned Akali and Nautilus, or that just both of them?
And a Rakan ban. I'm just listing the bans, not who banned it. I'm getting fed information from our help.
Yeah, we are getting fed information. I don't know who banned what. I assume the Akali ban was from JDG, though. Nautilus ban, I think, is a really good one if Lion did go for that one. Hard engage is something that JDG are looking for. And then
if JDG didn't have engage last game, they sure have it this game.
And Rakan being banned away from JDG as well, I think would also be fantastic, because Rumble, pretty good alongside the Rakan, holding them on to the
An
equalizer.
Aurora ban to deny it from Saint, which makes sense. So Lion or JDG would have banned Aurora because Aurora and Annie are very similar champions in the way that they pilot the game. So it's a very frequent pick into it.
Yeah, Aurora just straight up outranges Annie as well. You just have a really horrible time.
Yeah.
I believe we've seen that already. I believe it was Vikla that played the Annie into Aurora and didn't have the greatest of times. That's if memory serves.
I see a Victor on the bottom.
Going to be picked up. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, Victor to Annie. So Saint did pilot Victor in Game 5 against Loud. Had a very strong game. That was into a Vex.
Yep.
Slightly different matchup here, but if Victor gets a little bit ahead and can itemize a little bit of magic resist, he becomes very strong against the Annie. I will say it's difficult into Wukong, though. Wukong's very good at closing the gap onto Victor, so Saint will have to be very careful with his positioning in this game.
Yep, I do think that aiming for a fair bit of scaling as well, I feel like Victor just gets a whole lot work done in the later stages of the game, as Jhin, Alistar going to be locked in. Man, this is the most uninspiring lane, though. I don't really like... I know that Jin does decent amounts of work in the early stages of the game, but Jat, I am a generational Jin hater. I really just don't like him very much.
Well, listen. I think he can win this game, Max.
Is it anything to do with the Jin, Jat?
We'll see.
That's my question.
We'll see.
Because I think that the top side of the map is absolutely terrifying, and Gala and Vampire could have locked in whatever the heck they wanted, and I think that Alistar is an absolutely fantastic choice.
Malphite jungle for Inspired is going to be the last pick.
Oh my goodness.
He's been very effective on this pick when he's able to control the tempo of the game. He's really good at playing around these cooldowns. I mean, and he's already in the groove of waiting for ultimates when he plays Nocturne. There were actually 2 series in a row in the LCS playoffs where game 1 he Nocturne, game 2 he Malphited.
All right, stay in the same mindset.
And the game's played very similarly, so we can actually have our hearts broken twice in a row if things keep up.
Well, the thing is, if both Dokler and Inspired can build a bunch of armor, I mean, I guess they're not going to really be able to because there's a Rumble and Annie in the game.
There's a lot of AP,
Yeah, so they will need to deal with a fair bit of that. But, I mean, Jin is never going to kill any of these tanks. And so they can kind of freely itemize into a fair bit of magic resist before getting some armor items and feel pretty immortal in this game. And Nami does mean that you don't necessarily have a whole lot of engage options. Rock Go In is a pretty good engage option.
It is a good engage option. Isles is going to have to be very careful. He's going to be the target in a lot of these fights. Alistar Jin can engage from a very long range onto him if he's ever trying to get wards. So I think that's going to be kind of how JDG try to play, is they're going to be trying to engage on more Saint, Berserker, and Isles rather than dealing with the brick front line that LYON has been able to put together.
I tell you what, I actually really like not having a champion select. I feel way more immersed in what we're experiencing
seeing the team comps on the screen, I really like how big the picks are.
Yeah.
If we just found a spot on the stage for bans, we could be onto something.
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe we could actually just get someone to stand up there with pictures of champions, and they could like quickly just sketch out the picture of a.
You're gonna sketch it?
Yeah, sketch it. Because otherwise, you'd have to go through like a million different cards.
I mean, it could also just be another screen.
Nah, I want someone to sketch it. I just think that'd be more funny.
Okay.
As already we have a heal coming out here towards the bottom side of the map as Berserker and Isles fighting here against Vampire and Gala. I would assume that the Corki Nami would be feeling pretty good about scrapping very early.
Gala's already down a barrier here.
Yeah. And they used heal as well, so it's only flashes that they have up and available. Vampire doing that thing that Alistars like to do, where they want to put Headbutt on cooldown as much as they possibly can. Okay. And having a look, I think it should just even on out as this wave is going to get crashed in. But still priority over to Berserker.
Yeah, absolutely. Early lane prio with the Victor into the Annie as well. And for a team that normally drafts huge bot prio, this is definitely not that for JDG. Part of that is taking away the Nami, so I like that draft strategy from LYON.
Ooh, Honky getting aggressive towards Saint here, and if he just continues walking forward, it could be dangerous, but Saint likes this position. I don't know whether he should. The flash comes in, and that is a pretty simple first blood there for Honkyu.
Yeah, Saint definitely overplaying. Would be a little bit worried about the carryover from losing that Galio game into this Victor start. And Coach Chabe here, what I've learned from losing the game to Gen G, maybe you have to draft like a square. Everything you have cannot be a triangle or a rectangle, which is interesting. Quote.
It's no triangles or rectangles, however, it can be a circle.
We're going to break that down after we watch Saint here. Saint just misjudges his damage here because he has more minions, so he's hoping Honkyu takes the minion damage, has the Q shield, but Honkyu just...
Yeah, he also had Molten Shield back.
Has more of the damage. That to me is a big tilt play by Saint, feeling like he needs to ego on Honkyu early on in the lane. Cannot do so.
Yeah, that is not really allowed.
Yeah, but there's a gank coming bot lane, potentially.
Junja just going to move towards the scuttle that I believe was just taken.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be able to push.
Just spawned.
This is interesting because LYON have bot push, but they do not have mid push. So Inspired still might be able to bully him off this crab. And yeah, Junja's just going to run through his push mid lane and get to the top crab.
Yeah, a little bit of happy feeding there, but should be able to make his way over nonetheless. As LYON still with, like you say, like a whole lot of priority here towards this bottom side of the map, as you would be afforded by picking this Corkinami.
Yeah, so you really you requested the Tabe circle square triangle.
Yeah, I just really loved it.
You love shapes.
I do really like shapes.
And you love sayings that sound like they have meaning that we can then try and infer meaning on.
That don't actually have any meaning.
Like tempo markers and things like that.
Yeah, like tempo markers and tempo vibes.
Here comes a potential gank, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah. That is going to be the stun on to Saint. Flash forward there as they're wasting no time. Decent gravity well is going to come on through there as Saint ticking, and he's going to survive.
Very close. Gets the flash out of Junja, and big trading bot lane.
Fantastic bubble here as well as Gala down to about 100 has to flash his way out of there. And Vampire going to be the one left remaining here in this bottom lane as LYON still off to a good start despite that first blood.
Yeah, as long as Saint can equalize this lane and not get one shot at level 6, the bot lane, top lane, and jungle are all in fine spots. As Gala's sticking around, no flash, no barrier, but Berserker low on mana, does not want to risk going too deep.
As Dokla here towards his top side is just going to be having a pretty horrible time. As Isles, let's see whether it's going to be a cancel from Berserker, and he is going to cancel that. Now Gala with 300 health to his name. They're going to look for this kill onto the Nami. Nice the bubble connects once again. Double bubbles from Isles. And that is going to secure the first kill for the bottom lane here on LYON's side. As Inspired really likes the enemy Raptors, man. He is always here, no matter what. Just brawling on this rock.
Yeah, it's definitely his favorite thing to try and steal. And as Malphite, he's much stronger than him right now. Pushes him off of that.
Yeah.
Honku had to go back to lane because the wave needed to be caught. So Junja has to just accept that Inspired is likely hitting level 6 first.
And that's a scary prospect, as of course the Unstoppable Force is the entirety of Malphite's kit. There is not a whole lot more.
I mean, the W smack is pretty good now. That's why he's jungleable.
Yeah. I do feel like the only thing you really need to worry about, though, is the rock rocketing towards you.
Oh, look at Isles being a bro here. Nice big heal onto Saint.
Beautiful.
Actually, that's the type of stuff that tilts mid laners.
Oh, yeah, it really does.
When the support just comes in to heal.
The frustration roam.
Yeah, you're saying enchanters can't roam? Watch this.
Mm-hmm. It was the most annoying thing about Nidalee jungle as well, when you just run through, hit one spear, and then heal up the mid laner and leave.
Yeah, Saint,
don't even need to try and kill him.
Saint would love to get a kill here, but instead he's just going to go to River and get a nice reset off while the Annie goes back. So a recovery from a very questionable first blood. Yeah. After some nice 2v2 play by Berserker and Isles. 20 CS up in this lane now. And I have been meaning to infer meaning from this square quote.
All right.
Because I think it's abstract, but it makes sense in the sense that he said previously we were trying to play support jungle, and then we just decided to play very strong through bottom lane, which would be like a triangle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're cutting out a portion of the map.
It's like the bot lane and the jungle, that's your triangle. Yeah. But then he said after Gen G, if we just play a triangle, like they drafted everything with global, so they play the map. So the square more means, oh, we need to draft like a whole larger area of the map that wins. Something
you
like
need
that.
to understand that all the parts make the whole.
Because when you pick Jhin Alistar as well, that's not a bot lane triangle draft.
This is a triangle draft. This is definitely a triangle.
Because it's a top side triangle.
They've chopped off the bottom lane.
That's true.
This
is a triangle draft.
This is a triangle draft.
Yeah.
And so, if JDG loses this, we're going to need another interview with Tabe to ask him why he drafted a triangle here in game number 2. As Saint has been ganked here, does have to flash into the Raptor pit, as Inspired is just a little bit frustrated that there's someone else there.
The wrong
while he's
triangle
taking
too.
his Raptors.
Because they've been so good
normally
at
it's the other
lane.
triangle, isn't it?
Their CS is currently getting doubled. Berserker Niles. So because Vampire tried to become a square, he's left the one side of the triangle even more alone. So
from production, they personally think that he wants champions that tessellate nicely, like squares would do.
Well, Gala
I think that's
still
a
hasn't
beautiful
gotten
addition to what could be an inferring of meaning from a thing.
The producer is the character.
It's all right, there's a bear in the mid lane as Saint doesn't have flash anymore. Throws down the Arcane Storm, though, in response to Tibbers being thrown down. And, oh dear, another flash forward and another kill here for Honku. Stop walking back to this Annie, man.
Saint's dead again. But they have full control over the bot lane side.
Yes,
so
they
there
do.
Are silver
the
lines
empty
and everything.
part that this triangle has left behind.
Honku is playing very well.
Indeed.
Saint is continuing to buy more health to prevent that from happening again.
And is this the first time we've seen Annie actually win lane?
It appears so.
In this tournament. I feel like Annie has always had value, right? Because you can always just flash bear. But it hasn't been a pick that's been in control of a lane.
Gala's flash just came back up. in this lane as Malphite was thinking about ganking.
Well, Berserker just wandering on forward. Does take a fair bit of damage here as the bubble is going to connect once again. It's a level 5 Alistar, and he's just dead. That will is big time breakable.
Generational game right now from Berserker Isles against Gala Vampire, still doubling the Jin's CS. And Inspired able to take a Drake in exchange for those little grubs. So this is a Berserker angle for sure.
Yeah. And Berserker's Corki has always been pretty good. Even though he didn't necessarily find a whole lot of success when he was in the LCK, this was one of the picks that he did like to gravitate towards even then, and has continued to find some success on it. 1,000 gold is going to be the lead here with that first dragon being picked up. Next one going to be an Ocean, which means we're almost guaranteed a pretty powerful soul here in this game. I'm looking forward to seeing what it is going to be as Vampire rotating around, thinking about whether he wants to support his mid laner. Isles doing exactly the same thing.
It would be a good strategy currently to play through Annie or Rumble at this stage in the game.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only positive part of the map. This would be a very one-sided game without Honkyu's performance so far.
Play safe mid, I think, is what LYON should be saying in this particular game.
I mean, to be fair, it is a little tricky to do. Every mid laner is super good about every laner now is really good about freezing when they have an advantage and forcing the other player into more dangerous situations to try and clear. Don't know if that's exactly why Saint has died twice, but it's part of it.
I was going to say something, but I just don't feel the need.
Yeah, it speaks for itself.
It does. As Berserker and Isles just going to move towards yet another plate. We'll see whether they can collect that one. As Isles, man, he's just been hitting these bubbles.
Yeah, it's been.
Aquatic champions, you know, an Australian player makes sense, you know.
Of course.
We do like the beach. Although,
hey, look,
you guys are in California, a lot of beaches there too.
Raptors.
All right, more
Berserker's
Raptors.
got to be a little careful, but they see Junja.
Has Inspired just been clearing Raptors this whole game?
That appears to be the most important objective for him right now.
He's just been going Raptors to Raptors. All right, Equalizer comes down just to stop Tokla from going back home. Shashu will be able to clear the wave with it at the same time, though. And, I mean, if there's a tempo marker, that's got to be one of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, the tempo marker there for him to not recall is they saw Annie again on mid-wave. So he realized he could stay for one more wave. There you go. See, I think that makes enough sense.
I mean, it could theoretically be a thing. I just feel like it's just tempo without the markers regardless.
So Vedius tried to explain where tempo came from. He said it's from chess. Like, if you're always responding to the other player, the player who's making you respond has the tempo.
Yeah.
So if it's a sign that they have to respond to you, the sign could be the tempo marker.
Yeah, that is the marker.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
I think it works.
And honestly, it is just if wave be pushing towards enemy, you have tempo. And that is kind of how it works. That's the marker.
Yeah. It might make it easier to explain tempo because it's kind of an abstract concept.
Yeah, I kind of hate that it kind of works.
If you start making markers, it's easier to teach.
Because I do need to admit to everyone that this was 100% a mistake on my part.
It was made up.
Yeah, it was just a bit silly as they deny the cannon, and Gala also just taking so much damage. Frostro's bomb comes down. And they even get the ebb and flow to make sure that Berserker is absolutely fine. Decent trade here onto Honky, but he does have that stun lined up and throws down the bear because of it.
Pretty
More
greedy.
damage comes out. The Death Ray would have been enough, but dealing with Tibbers and the Annie at the same time, a little bit of difficulty here. And Junja was lurking off towards the side.
They were fighting over Raptors again.
I was going to say, Inspired is obviously on his Raptors.
Yeah, the Raptors are the new crabs, for sure. I mean, another good game state for LYON.
Yeah.
Currently, I will say the Wukong Annie, once they both hit their item power spikes like this Malignance and the Trinity Force, will be very strong in team fights. That's what Berserker is going to have to contend with since he's got the lion's share of the gold. Plus 2,000.
I see what you did there. That was a very nice pun, Jet. I like that lion's share.
Out of the tournament. He was eliminated.
See, and now you've used his name as a pun as well, for double puns.
First stand goals.
Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Tokla just going to have to collect another wave as that one is going to get melted by the Equalizer, but it looks like LYON will be able to grab this outer turret on the bottom side of the map. First turret blood going over their way, but Junja is in the area. Yeah. They should just be able to back away. Jat, by the way, just then visibly tensed as they were potentially going to overextend, but they didn't.
You understand why I'm always on edge.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to say things about caster curses and make jokes again because I kind of thought that one was in the bag, and then it absolutely wasn't, and I have egg on my face. I apologize.
7-0 26 minutes into the game on Soul Point.
Yeah.
And
so
not like it wasn't a fake 7-0. It was like a 7-0 with a 5,000 gold lead.
Let's have a look at the Coinbase gold grind, chat.
Okay.
Dougler is behind a bit of gold, but otherwise
just a bit.
It isn't too much of a worry here for the Cassante.
Yeah,
probably
he's got his
the
MR.
least interesting lane as far as an advantage to be called out is concerned.
He's got his Kanik. That's the most important item when he's up against Annie and Rumble. And since he doesn't have to worry about Junja, since Junja's always fighting over Raptors, it's fine to just stack MR for the early game.
I do feel like Junja should just go to Inspired's everything else in the jungle, because Inspired won't be there. He will be at his Raptors.
Get the Raptors. Yeah. Speaking of which, though, the Wukong has decided to forego Inspired's Raptor spawn and is ganking Dokla.
Well, let's see whether Dokla can survive, as he is now going to look to try and find a bit of an all-out angle. Does use it here and flashes away. Success does have to use absolutely everything to make that one happen. As in the meantime, here towards his bottom side of the map, Saint just takes another bear. They're
going to continue to deny him off this wave, though, and collect a lot of plates. Inspired is smacking the Drake, so he can't help. But the fact that Alistair is moving up means Dokla has to completely abandon his turret. First turret has already gone over to Berserker in the bottom lane, so the bonus gold isn't there, but this should still give a pretty big lead to Xiaoshu.
This is a pretty scary teleport as well, as we did see that Vampire was in the area, but it looks like Junja is just going to leave because the rest of LYON are making their way up as well. Dokla will just get exhausted just for the slow to stop him from moving further forward.
It was role quest completed teleport, so even more secure with the massive shield plus the Kanik shield. Gets to keep that shield for 30 seconds too, so he's going to go do some goofy things to interrupt resets.
Yep, continuing just to dash underneath the enemy turret. Death Ray comes down, does a fair bit of work there as well with that Rod of Ages now completed here for Saint. He's doing his best to scale up.
It is a little weird that Saint is here, though, since Dokla's the one that teleported up. So Saint is the natural person to go match bottom lane, and he's just going to have to burn his teleport without basing to get down there. So that would be a negative tempo marker right now for LYON that they had to use the TP in that way.
Yeah, I mean, Saint did have to walk up top lane because they thought that Dokla was potentially teleporting into 3 people.
Right.
But that wasn't actually the case, as Gala continues to take a lot of damage. This Jhin not exactly doing the most at this stage of the game. Look at the number.
Which one?
That is the CS number is a big one.
Whoa! 173
gold
to 118.
Kind of ridiculous. I haven't seen a lead like that in quite some time this early on in the game. Berserker really having a good one.
Yeah, but Dokla, very unhealthy turret, is going to have to likely just give this one up and then walk through the Alistair.
Well, we also got another bear coming down here towards his bottom side, but the flash does have to be used to get out of the way of the unstoppable force. Inspired will now have to walk towards the bear and does get stunned on his way up, but he is going to live.
Yeah, and Dokla is going to get dove here or lose another turret with how much time LYON just spent bot.
Yeah, that is a whole lot. As let's see whether Berserker can actually make his way up. You can see he's trying to get that, but I just don't think it's going to work. As he dashes around with the all-out for a little bit, but it is not going to happen. Shelly also going to get a headache as they look to take down this inner turret, and that is a massive amount of gold over to JDG as they swing things back in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, a really good sequence by JDG that all started from the original dive attempt onto Dokla that had Saint walking up top lane, Dokla stuck around, Saint then teleported bot lane, and then if they would have paid more attention to their tempo markers,
I know,
they would have not gone for that dive bot, because it just gave too long of a turn for JDG to repeat the dive on Dokla and kill the inner turret.
Sometimes those tempo markers can really be camouflaged, can't they, Jat? And it's really hard to identify exactly where they are. But hopefully the next one, they will be able to figure out. As getting these grubs to work as well. As here towards the bottom side of the map, I believe that plate will be going on over. And there it is.
Jeez, this is still a very close game by the numbers. It just, the feeling you have after what happened in game 1 and then just this last sequence makes it a very scary situation.
If they're halfway through killing the Nexus, I still won't be sure.
I'm not 100% sure, because it's going to be actually pretty difficult for LYON to play out. So Berserker has a massive lead. That gives them full mid prio, right? They'll be able to step up on mid wave, and they'll make Gala consistently catch this under his turret. However, with a 1,000 gold lead in both solo lanes, it's very difficult for LYON to do anything with their mid prio, because with turrets missing in side lanes as well, it's very hard for them to get any push. So it's just makes it difficult for them to actually have like true setup on these objectives, and it should allow JDG to get flank angles onto Berserker in fights, which makes it a very tense game of League of Legends.
Not to mention the fact that like Flash Tibbers into Equalizer is always into Cyclone, will always kill Berserker, no matter how much money he has.
Yes.
That will always just be a way to get it done.
Eventually, I think Isles should build the McHale's. Currently, he has the Imperial Mandate, which is very common. Berserker's maxing damage, and they're breaking the turret.
Yep, that is going to pull Junja away, and he's going to have to flash into his blue pit. That is going to keep him alive, though, as they do take down the turret. As Inspired throws down an R button for fun.
Gets the flash.
And okay, Gala did flash out of the way of it. Did miss that one, as Headbutt Pulverize does come off through his Vampire, looking for a re-engage. The curtains have been called. It's a lot of damage out of this Jhin as he tags Isles with it as well. Finds the Ebb and Flow to keep himself alive. It's now the double knock-up. The triple knock-up from JDG as they throw the kitchen sink at LYON. It's a double for Junja, and Saint is having to flash his way out. He does have a disengage cone, so he will be able to use that to escape, but it's a big win for JDG.
The anti-Wukong strike. They just put Berserker in a bounce house. The CC chain from Alistair into Jhin gives time for Junja to just annihilate Berserker.
Yep. Pulverize, Cyclone, and the Deadly Flourish, everything just thrown at Berserker. And this is exactly what we were just talking about, is the fact that they do just have the tools to lock down a target.
You can have mid-cryo, but you have no control over your side lanes. So when you're pushed up in mid, they can flank you specifically from the top side. So Xiaoshu throws the ultimate down. Berserker already spends a lot of time on the Equalizer, has to Valkyrie away, tries to re-enter the mid lane. There's the Jhin value there from the root.
Yeah.
You can't say that didn't happen, Atlas.
And honestly, like, the Jhin is fantastic utility in this game.
If you're going to play a topside triangle team comp, Jhin is not that bad to have in the bot lane.
Yeah, that's basically what you have to do.
Yep.
As, Saint not looking too happy about how this one's going. But it is only 1.8k. It's not a massive lead. One Dragon goes over to JDG as well. Stopping the stacking is a huge deal, especially when it is an Infernal Soul. But we'll just have to see whether LYON can bounce back after that one, because we know that if they do manage to get an Unstoppable Force to land onto a target, right, there are flashes that are now on cooldown. In fact, everyone has their flash on cooldown on JDG's side. Very soon, we will have Honkyu having his available again, but I mean, this is the time to throw the rock at the enemy team.
It really is. Try to get someone flashless, kill them. But the big thing they need to focus on is just continuing to collect gold on Berserker, because he's 2.3k up right now, but he's not even truly on 2 items until he transforms that Manamune. And it's full 2 items on the entire top triangle for JDG. So at this point, Berserker actually not that strong in the relative sense of the game, but he will be strong later with how much gold he got early once he completes full items.
Dokwa is just dancing around on an Equalizer, and that is a dangerous thing to do. Junja holding him there with that Cyclone, and collapses, grabs the kill onto the Cassante. And now that lead is only extending. 2.2k just for Xiaoshu on this Rumble. He is so scary in this game.
Yeah, and it's in part, like, when you have a fed Wukong with double AP solo laners, that's the best version for Wukong, because all these people that the side laners are playing against have at least dabbled into the MR. The Cassante stacks it, Mercury Treads and Kanik. Now he's working on Iceborne, so he has a little bit of armor. But then even the Victor, no armor to deal with Junja, who's going to be dealing nearly true damage with the Shred from his Wukong Q as well as the Black Cleaver.
Yeah, it's a very scary time here for LYON. And I think that if they can find a team fight, you know, with their Malphite, you know, get the AoE Wombo combo to work out, ducks in a row, as it were, and it might work out. But the problem is, the difference between this game and last game is that JDG now have full control. And LYON had control the entirety of the game until they lost in game number 1, and it was still very, very difficult to pick their fights in the right way. Now they're going to have to really try and orchestrate something without this Wukong Rumble just absolutely destroying them, not to mention Honkyu throwing bears around and things like that. This is a very, very difficult one to play out, despite the fact that Galo is put so far behind. It just doesn't seem to matter when they can kill Berserker so comfortably. Yeah,
the team play from JDG has been exceptional. Specifically, the team fighting from JDG has been exceptional in both of these games. Even if they were getting a little bit picked apart in game 1, they found the team fight at the end. And then here, the big fight they had in the mid lane has really spread their lead. So now they can start playing the map. I mean, look at how fed this Rumble is actually getting.
Oh, he's
229 huge. CS, 2.7k ahead of Dokwa.
And does have an arm guard now completed as well. And so can go on untargetable at any point in time.
Yep.
And so Garlet will catch this wave. We do have Saint picking up a wave towards that bottom side as well. That lead isn't as gigantic as we can see towards the top side. But the game certainly slowing down at this point in time. We're looking for our next Dragon fight, probably, to decide what's going to happen in this game as far as the next team fight is concerned. That would be my reckoning.
For sure. I wouldn't be too surprised. You can see LYON sending 2 out the top lane right here. I think they're hoping that JDG put a lot of attention towards controlling this Drake, and then they can get some extra turret gold for Saint. Because Berserker's really fed right now, Saint's behind, but if they can turn this Victor into a legitimate secondary threat, I think there's a decent chance they'd have...
Oh, there's the flash there. Okay. It's out goes Berserker. Junja looking for an angle here, but it's just Inspired that he's engaging on. Tidal Wave not really doing too much of anything at all as Dokla teleported in. They're looking for Junja, who does use that Warrior Trickster to get himself out of the way. Dokla's still going to be there and does find the Q onto the Monkey, but now the curtains have been called. It's JDG's turn to start this fight as Inspired is just dead. Oh my goodness, had the ultimate still up and available as the equalizer goes down as well. It's not exactly the greatest position. They're underneath the enemy turret, but it doesn't seem to matter. JDG just get in there and take them out. There's the all-out from Dokla as well, as Honky was tanking the turret for such a long time, but he's distracted by so many JDG members, and that is going to be them just cutting down LYON where they stand.
They have absolutely blown this game right open. They call LYON on their bluff and they annihilate them. LYON was just trying to buy as much time for Saint to get free gold as possible because Saint wasn't coming. He was just in the top lane the whole time.
Maybe it's Saint's time, as these are some low health bars. Possible angle here. Don't have any vision in this Baron pit, as Honky will be able to push him away. So no, never mind.
That would be rather ambitious if he tried to.
I just wanted to see like Flash Arcane Storm just try and pop someone, you know? But he had no idea. There was no vision available.
Yeah, right here, I'm a little surprised Dokla and Inspired continue to step forward because to me, job is done here. Saint's going to get top turret. You're going to give Drake anyway. But Inspired gets stun locked. Probably thought he'd be able to ult away for the disengage. Yeah. Never ended up pressing his ultimate. Dies with ult and flash up. And then LYON definitely underestimated just how much engage JDG has, because they can flash forward with Danny, they can flash forward with Wukong, they can flash forward with Alistar whenever they want, and Jhin can CC from so far away. They can't run away once that fight starts, and they lose everything.
Well, Dragon up and available here as Dokla down to 50% health. As in comes Vampire, finds himself a pulverize, but he might be a little bit too far forward. Never mind, Honku does make his way round the corner. There's the unstoppable force. Inspired going to hit it this time, as the tidal wave is also much better this time around. Vampire already taken out as Honku just getting hit by a rock and will get taken down. Still the Nami is dead and Berserker is fighting against Tibbers. Almost loses that one at the same time. However, now it's just Xiaoshu and Gala alive.
Big fight there for LYON, getting 3 for 1 and currently preventing the Drake, so they get a big bunch of bounty gold, making this a 3,000 gold game. And if they can redeploy in time to take this Drake, they could get soul point as well.
This could be a huge deal. It is a little bit of a Rebel Baron weakness play as well, as we have a negative 1,600 gold from that one. With the fact that there is so much less gold from the Baron, can not necessarily be the greatest of decisions, especially if you lose a team fight immediately afterwards. But still, Dokla going to be moving back towards this Drake, and it's not over yet. Could just be a rinse and repeat. Look for another fight.
We'll see. I think they get it. Junja has to run from base. There's no teleport on the Annie. If Saint would help them on the Drake, they'd definitely be able to kill it faster. But he takes the wave. It's going to be completely fine. Yep. And soul point now, as we get to watch this fight one more time. Vampire is early. You look, Gala, Junja, and Rumble all on the other side of the map. So when Honku moves in, Inspired, I think lands his first Malphite ultimate of the game, but it does
I didn't want to say it.
It does lead to 2 kills.
It does.
Very interesting development as Berserker dodges that last curtain call and survives the Tibbers to stay fed in this game.
Yep, much better team fight look here for LYON as the equalizer goes down. Deadly Flourish as well. Make sure that Isles is just ticking.
Wow.
As that one does go down. So he's going to have to go back to base. They still have some Barons left on this map as Inspired off to the side. Thinking about using that Blast Cone to get himself in there.
Malphite ultimate worked the last time he landed it on a player.
Yeah.
So might want to try it again. The angle is actually not there though, so he decides to back up. Honku level 16 Annie, very scary right now.
And this is JDG just walking around as a unit, waiting to catch out anyone who puts a foot out of line. 27 minutes into the game, soul point like you were talking about, a huge deal here. As LYON will at least be able to get this wave shoved out.
Yeah.
And I think now is the time to talk about like scaling and things like this.
True.
I do feel like it's a bit of an evergreen comp from JDG with the fact that they have so many AoE CC tools.
True.
But the damage may not quite be enough because there is that true tank in the Cassante towards the top side of the map.
Absolutely. I think JDG's team comp is incredibly front-loaded in damage.
Yeah.
And it relies a lot on thresholds. So if they're able to get that first kill of the fight, we're going to see a fight like we saw in the mid lane where they gained the giant gold lead and took Baron. But if they don't get that clean one-shot, then I think the eventual damage of the Corki and the Victor can be a lot higher. So I think with the current state of the game, the fights are playable, but LYON just has to play them extremely well. Mikhail's being on Nami is good, but the fact that one Jhin W into an equalizer is all of Isles' health also makes things difficult to play.
And it doesn't even matter. The Jhin W doesn't really do very much damage.
Yeah.
Because it just needs to hold them in place. Is now Inspired, engaged on. Hasn't really taken any damage just yet, though. As that Kanik Rookern doing some work here alongside his extra thrift shop items. 3 items, but the cheapest way to get there. You love to see it.
I will say, junglers that can build Protoplasm Harness generally just get inflated in power because that item is so incredibly efficient and strong. So a big fan whenever you're able to complete that item on a jungler. You don't need to build an item to clear the jungle.
Yep. All right, Dokla catching this wave. The rest of JDG were thinking about going for a bit of a dive, but I don't think Dokla's very diveable.
Yeah.
Honestly, it feels like the tempo vibes have shifted. You know, that's what it feels like to me.
So tempo vibes is way more useless than tempo markers.
Oh, absolutely.
As a term.
It's completely useless.
It is actually a full word wasted.
Yeah. It's just like a waste of time entirely.
Yeah. Tempo markers is only like a half of a wasted word.
Yeah, you can almost make it mean something.
Yeah.
But tempo vibes is purely just a feeling that you get.
Correct.
That's all it is. However, I feel like it works in this particular instance.
You would, because you're the one who said it. I don't think others would feel that.
All right. Junja thinking about trying to find a bit of an angle here, but I don't think he's going to be able to. And LYON will just slink into their jungle.
So Saint is recovered in this game, actually. So he's 3 full items with Mercury Treads, will be doing a decent amount of damage, level 18 as well. The game's actually gotten pretty late.
Yeah.
It's kind of a one-fight game. If it really swings to the side of one team and a wave is in the right place, it could just be them running down the Nexus. And Berserker almost has Infinity Edge. When Corkis get to the 4-item Hex Optics Infinity Edge build, they can annihilate teams. So that's going to be the win condition for LYON, is getting to the Infinity Edge and then keeping Berserker alive in team fights.
It's a ludicrous amount of damage in 4 items. I was thinking that maybe it would be the dreaded Collector third, and it wasn't that. Hex Optics just a little bit too strong, and then the Infinity Edge comes in for that massive damage. And in a minute's time, there is an Infernal Soul on the table for LYON. I have a feeling that that might be where the fight is going to occur, but the Baron has just spawned as well. That might be another angle. JDG could also go for a potential trade, but I think that Soul is so dangerous, especially when it's a Victor so good at applying that Infernal Soul.
For sure. I don't see an easy way for LYON to move in here, and as soon as they move into River, they're going to get flanked. Junja is currently not on Vision.
Yeah, that's a scary teleport from Saint as well, but wasn't punished for it.
I can really see LYON moving towards Baron for control, but Saint is so scared.
Oh, he gets the Vision down, so Saint does get himself out of there. Does have to
that was scary.
Expend a bit, but still able to survive.
But you can see all the flank angles. Rumble in mid lane. Okay, now teleporting over to the bot lane, so he's okay, sure. They're just going to actually approach from one side. This is a better look for LYON now that they've been able to retake this bush and actually have their tanks in front. They need to be able to mark Junja, though. Great ward there by Isles.
Yeah, getting that ward down is certainly important, but they need another one so they can see what Junja's doing. I think they do manage to see him, as Honky also walking over this control ward will be discovered. So no flank for the Annie either. So JDG, they might just have to pull the trigger with information over to LYON, as Inspired does spot him out here. Cute little Poro there from Honky, but I don't think that that is going to allow him to get his flank off. As stun does come down, they're thinking about trying to get on top of Inspired instead.
Yeah, the lower this Dragon gets, the better it is for LYON. He gets a lot of damage on Honky. Here's a fight.
Yeah, Tibbers does come down a little bit early in this one as well, as the curtains have been called. Junja has control of the Drake, though, for the moment, as Inspired is off to the side. Saint is going to get engaged on, but the flash out here from Junja as this Victor is starting to do so much damage. Still, Inspired is out of the fight. That health bar is way too low, and the Drake will be secured by JDG. Can they get anything more, though? That is going to be the question, as Xiaoshu does have a full health bar, but doesn't exactly have teammates with the same, so he is just going to back away.
Mission accomplished for JDG. Prevent the soul point and keep the pressure on the map. It was an interesting start to the fight where Inspired was just hoping to get the anti-ultimate down to just diminish the amount of engage that JDG would have if LYON sticks around for the Drake. But then I think Inspired ulted in probably a little bit early. We'll have to watch this one more time. Start of the fight is okay, but Berserker having to Valk out of the pit means no one can follow up on Inspired. And then they lose vision of the Drake for a bit. Inspired ulting in for Hongq there, I think it's just a straight-up mistake.
Yeah.
If he stays on the outside of the fight, he'd still have the ultimate for an eventual steal, and they could reset the fight right here. But then once he had to flash out back of the pit, they have to completely bail, because then they're not even looking for the Infernal Soul.
Yo,
once again, it seems a little bit
what are you doing?
like
Hold your position.
All right, Inspired getting a little bit heated here.
He said Corky, hold your position, I believe. So he didn't like Valking out the back of the pit like that. Probably would have wanted to Valk into the river to hold that part of the river so they could stay on the Drake. But clearly some miscommunication there. Inspired's the one who ulted in that looked bad at the end, but he clearly wanted that fight to play out a different way.
Well, we'll see whether they are going to be able to figure it out in the next one, because of course, didn't lose too much. It is a couple of Drakes stacked up. Next time, if JDG manages to get a third, my goodness. I mean, then you're staring down the barrel of the 4 Infernal Soul, which is ludicrous amounts of damage, especially when the composition entirely revolves around making sure that you have enough damage in your opening salvo. And is certainly going to be helping out here. A 4-item Rumble with a 10-stack Dark Seal as well, though. Yeah. I mean, this Xiaoshu guy is pretty strong.
Rumble's out of control at this point. But it is about Berserker and Saint. If Berserker can stand and hit in any of these team fights, which is much easier said than done, against a Proto Belt Annie and a Wukong, he's gone all damage. So if Berserker finds the right fight, it's going to be big, but it's probably more likely that he gets CC chained and dies. With Mikhail's being on Nami, it helps a bit, but they also just have no side lane control. So everywhere they push, they're trying to throw down as many wards as possible to try and prevent a flank. It's a very difficult game to play.
See whether they can convince JDG to get 5 people on the map and just fight them in an honest 5v5. I think that is where LYON might be able to get something done, especially if some of these Arcane Storm resets do come through from Saint. He is starting to do so much damage in this game.
So are you claiming it's dishonest if they flank Berserker? Honest has to be just all 5 eye contact?
A gentleman's 5v5.
A gentleman's 5v5.
This was coined by OK Bro, once known as OK Bro.
Yeah, I'm down for gentleman's 5v5.
Yeah. They weren't a great team. So maybe being a gentleman in League of Legends is not the way to do it. Maybe cheating into a situation that is just advantageous for you could be the way to do it.
Flanking.
However, sometimes there are gentlemen still left.
Yeah, flanking seems like smart 5v5s.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I think
it's sneaky, though. It's not honest. You know?
I think it's quite honest.
If you have a gentleman's 5v5, you just draw the battle lines, and then you go.
Well, this is a gentleman's... It's not a gentleman's Baron. There's no vision.
Yeah, it's just a Baron.
From LYON. It's just a Baron.
Well, Inspired will get some vision on to Xiaoshu here. I don't think he wants to be engaging onto him and Hongq once again, though, as Gala has taken a lot of damage from just the Baron. Their Baron damage is actually just not that great. As in he goes once again, Hongq having to deal with this big old rock. Gala does take down Isles, but Vampire will be following soon. The Arcane Storm, like we were saying, is doing a whole bunch of work still. Oh my goodness, Xiaoshu just does so much damage in this game. And they look to get on top of Saint. They will be able to do so. There's the all-out from Dokla. Allows him to travel away from the battle and takes down the Rumble to boot. Still Junja's going in, but these shields are working for LYON. Still it's a 3-for-2.
Wow, what looked like a disastrous start ends in a 3-for-2, but I still think JDG should have enough up to take this Baron, no problem. Saint is TPing back on midway, but it just seems like... It seems rather bold to try and stop this Baron, but that looks like what they're going to try to do.
I think you probably could. I mean, the Baron is doing a fair bit of damage, and it's only a Jhin, right? He doesn't do a lot of damage to Baron. Still, it is down exceptionally low, and the teleport is going to mean that they are not going to be able to get that one done. Even if it was just a Alistair there. Finds a double pulverize as well, and oh dear, Saint. He just teleported back in, and now he's going to take the Death Chamber route in order to get out.
I think it would have been better not to contest the Baron.
You know what?
Yeah.
As far as the hindsight is 2020 is concerned, I would agree with you.
The second time. The first one I'm down for. And it was a very nice engage here by Vampire. You can see Isles, he wants to be there to support Berserker, but he just dies if Rumble puts his ultimate on the CC. They are able to trade for supports, but you can see Berserker's just not able to stand and hit in any of these fights. Yeah. Even though they have a Knight's Vow on him, I believe, from Inspired, he dies right away, and then Xiaoshu at level 20 just has so many base stats, it takes so long for LYON to finish them off. And Saint playing with fire to re-engage. Spellbook TP into Hex Flash is the perfect engage to set up the execute onto Saint.
Yep, Gala also being able to get a little bit of extra money there as well, collecting that kill. Thankfully, they don't lose any more, but still, LYON kind of circling the drain at this point in the game. And you saw that picture-in-picture at the same time that the Dragon also goes down. 3 Dragons apiece here, as we are really late into this game, almost ticking towards that 40-minute mark.
Yeah,
and the Baron is getting a lot of work done.
LYON needs a bit of a miracle fight here. Berserker with an RFC as well, so 5 full items. Could do 1 more for, you know, fake 7 item or true 6 item nowadays.
He's got an Elixir of Wrath. That counts. That's an never mind. Doesn't have it anymore. He drank it.
Would need a rather miracle fight where Berserker's able to hit, but the problem is anyone who he can hit can kill him.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get auto attacks off.
It is problematic. The 3-level advantage that Xiaoshu had as well is just kind of ludicrous. Still has it, actually, as Dokla hasn't yet hit that level 18.
But you can't hit level 21, so it won't get worse.
That's true. It's only up from here, Jat. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
I do like that optimism. As Junja off on a bit of an angle here towards mid lane.
You can also only lose 3-0. It can't get worse.
Can't lose 4-0.
Nope, not yet.
Oh, man. You are just a beacon of hope. Exactly. It's beautiful to see as Ingo's Berserker looks for Junja. He's almost just dead. And whoa, just 1 extra auto would have done it. But the engage on the other side is still really dangerous. But Dokla will be able to find Honkyu. They get the pick. And now Berserker is looking for even more. This Corki does a lot of damage. Like you were saying, just needs to stand and hit. What about Valkyrie forward and hit?
I mean, Inspired still has ultimate. He's hunting.
Oh, Gala could be his target as well. Xiaoshu is going to be there. The wagon wheel comes out, and he finds the double knockoff. Berserker wants to kill Gala, and let's see whether he can do so as Xiaoshu is on the gravity well. My God, he does so much damage. Uses his onions here to buy a bit of time, but I have a feeling he's still dead. And JDG, they fall apart. LYON's pounce, and they are looking to try and push even further.
As they say in Brazil, hope is the last one to die. They have Gala, Xiaoshu, and Honkyu dead, and they're trying to push bot.
Let's see, that's a lot of crystalline overgrowth. Not a lot of people have been down here towards this side of the map on LYON's side, but they're looking to push even further. And Berserker does so much damage to these structures.
I think they're going to go for the end. It's difficult. The Baron,
5 seconds.
The Baron has fallen off, so they won't have to deal with as many minions. Honkyu will be alive, though. He's going to try and clear the wave.
Well, Junja, Vampire, they have so much AoE CC as well. You cannot stack up against them, but still, the gravity well comes down. The bubble is not going to quite land there as the headbutt back from Vampire. He's doing the best that he can, but Junja should be going down. The Cyclone comes on through. That is the GA that is going to work out. The Pulverize onto 3. LYON need to take down these Nexus turrets before the rest of the respawns come in. As Junja, he should be going down here as Saint. Can he find it? No! He turns it around. They look for it, though, and the second Nexus turret is going to go down. The Nexus is getting focused, but it's Xiaoshu that's left alive. 1 more auto, and there it is! LYON take the game and even out the series.
They're back, baby. 1-1.
I saw Xiaoshu respawn. I was absolutely terrified, Jet. I think there should be weighted best of 7s every time we do double elimination, but that is just me. Let's dive into a pick and ban here, though, as JDG have decided to go with first pick once again. And so that means, by the looks of things, actually, never mind. So LYON will be on the blue side. However, they are on the right-hand side of the champion select right now.
Yep, that is where the players are sitting, so that matches up. Jarvan, Seraphine banned once again. Lulu still banned. So the kind of bread and butter bottom lanes have been consistently banned through the first 3 games. Need to update the series bans as well. Those are just the Fearless bans from game 1 that we currently see. So all the champions they played in the last game are not available as well.
All right, let's see what that changes as far as the priority is concerned. I have a feeling that, like, Ambessa kind of just hasn't been looked at throughout this series so far, and so that might be something worth looking at here. Is the Pantheon going to be taken away? And 1 more ban to come through here from LYON. See what that is going to be. Fiddlesticks. Kind of like that from, look at that beautiful drawing as well. It really evokes Fiddlesticks.
I'd say both those signs are great. The Let's Go JDG sign looks great as well.
Man, we are certainly taking our time for this final ban.
I'm a little worried that something is banned and isn't popping up yet. Okay, it's Jax. We got it.
Okay. So Jax is going to be banned away, Xiaoshu. Oh, okay. So with the Jax ban, isn't that's kind of telling us something? that perhaps there is an idea here.
Like a first pick Ambessa?
Like a first pick Ambessa.
Maybe. Because
Rumble, they are second pick, so...
Rumble Cassante gone already. JDG has the first pick.
Ooh, Vi going to be the choice here. How is Inspired's Neferi?
Untested.
Oh, untested. That is such a beautiful way of describing it. Okay, so probably not going to be going for that particular attempted counter pick, because like you were saying, the Ambessa was set up for here and will be locked away. Could, of course, be Inspired's pick because Ambessa has been played throughout the jungle, but Rise is up! What the heck?
Nice!
It's an assumed ban in my brain. I just assume that it's always going to be banned away, and they get its second rotation?
I love this second rotation from LYON. Already a lot of side lane power, a lot of good ability to skirmish. It does leave open the Anivia counters that I'm sure Honky would be able to play, whether he wants to go with something like Cassio or Anivia. Zehen also could just be thrown in as a top jungle flex at the moment. Wouldn't be too shocked if they lock it in.
Are we going to go with like bot lane Vi?
No.
Okay, so it's probably going to go top lane.
Yeah.
And Honky, is he going to be going for the Anivia counter pick or something like that? Or do they hold their cards close to their chest? Or do they just go for the mid jungle, tried and true Ahri Vi? Yeah. This is not inspiring in my personal opinion.
They have a really high chance of drafting a full square this game because they already have the top lane triangle, and I don't see a reason that they have to sack the bottom of the map.
I actually think that they need to put a lot of power in the bottom of the map because there is a Rise Ambessa being represented on the other side. The Ambessa still retaining its flexibility as well, so you can't go all in into, you know, banning things away. All right, the Ezreal going to be locked in here for Berserker. So trying to keep things ambiguous is the aim of the game. There's more bans to come on through here. Is there like a Zehen like counter pick that you can, like what would be the favored counter pick into Zehen towards the top side of the map?
Well, I mean,
if you were going to flex the Ambessa, that's my question.
Honestly, that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure what Dokla would have cooking. He could always play just a range top if he really wanted to.
That's what I was thinking. Is it time for like Vayne top?
I don't think it's time. I think the Ambessa is fine. And I'm just thinking through the junglers that are already locked in, knowing that Inspired is going up against Vi. So it's... We've lost all of our Fearless bans. So I need to, from memory, remember the 4 junglers that have been played. But it's Wukong, Malphite, Xin, and Pantheon are gone.
Yes.
From the jungle pool.
Well, Pantheon's been banned, so it wasn't played in one of those games. So there's another one. Xin's out? Did you say that one?
Xin, that one was played. Nocturne, Malphite, Wukong.
Malphite, Wukong, yeah.
And Pantheon Viego also banned. So they're going down Inspired's list. He played Viego in Game 2 against Gen G, and one of their better-looking games against Gen G. So this could be the time that Inspired has a jungle pick cooking.
Yep. The Kai'Sa and the Sivir both banned away here. Just some options into the Ezreal that can do decently well.
Yeah, good chance that they're saving support counter pick for 5th pick as well once they see the bot lane of JDG. So I'd expect Inspired's jungle pick to come through on 4 here.
Yeah, I feel like the support pool is kind of wide open. Outside of the fact that Fearless has banned away quite a few of the decent ones. As there is the Seraphine being taken away as well, so trying to deny that combination on that bottom side of the map.
With all these jungle bans, this could be the time to move the Ambessa to jungle, because it's still a very serviceable jungler.
I also think that, like, just lock a support and then hold the flexibility, although looks like Dokla is heading towards a different idea.
If they lock this in. It's funny.
Top lane Rise.
About a year ago, we talked to Dokla about top lane Aurora, and he said it's a fake pick. Like, it can go up 10 CS and then it just doesn't do anything. But a man can change his views.
What's his opinion on top lane Rise?
I don't think it's something he'll play.
Oh, really?
But it would be a decent time for it, for sure.
Yeah, because if you don't like top lane Aurora,
into Ahri,
then you don't need to play it. If you just play Rise instead. Kala having an idea about what he wants to pick here as the Xayah will be locked in. Is it just Xayah Rakan time? Yeah, the Lovers duo going to be locked in for JDG.
Okay, so let's see what Isles has cooked for his counter pick here. Seraphine already gone, Karma already gone.
Big
Could be Bard time. Ezreal Bard is a nice combo.
Yeah, I really like this. I think you'd have push in that lane as well. Bit of an advantage there as far as the combat capabilities of the Bard. And really does add a massive amount of utility. We've seen this champion banned so often as, never mind, Isles is skipping around a few different decisions. I do think the Bard would have been a good one, but instead wanting a little bit more engage in frontline.
Yeah, Leonis can be really good into the Rakan as well. Get that point and click Q when the Rakan tries to fly in to maybe help with the one shot. And this is likely what we're going to see from LYON with all the bans that were thrown down to Inspired. It made sense that he flexed the Ambessa to the jungle.
Yep.
And they just need to make sure him and Ezreal have good games, otherwise the MR stack from the top side of JDG could be very strong.
Yeah, I do think that the Aurora should be able to keep down the Zahen in the earlier stages of the game, but I just feel like that champion, if you get to a certain point, you are just kind of inevitable.
Yeah, especially when there's double AP solo laners. If he's able to itemize pretty hard in AP, and if Inspired doesn't get fed, he will run over the game.
Yeah. A little bit frightened, but match point on the cards for both teams here as we have a tied-up series. It is a best of 3 from here on out, and I'm just so glad that we have a series that isn't a sweep. You said already that this could be like the most one-sided international tournament that we've ever had. Well, both JDG and LYON are doing their very best to fight back against that.
And listen, today is just different. G2 already won.
Yeah. I'd prefer not to think about that series. Made me a little bit sad.
Oh, because of the BFX result?
They didn't do very well. If I can remember back to the bits that I haven't quite figured out how to forget yet. But let's dive in to game number 3 here between LYON and JDG. LYON being able to pick up that victory quite narrowly, I guess, towards the end there with that last auto attack needing to come down towards the Nexus. And are now looking to carry that momentum forward into this second game. And I want to kind of go back to what we were mentioning at the very beginning, and almost facetiously, the mental reset did happen.
It did.
And LYON managed to get back out onto the Rift and find themselves a victory here against JDG.
No, and now the mental momentum, as you would call it.
Oh, the momentuman.
That's not what I would call it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were on the same page.
It's in the side of LYON for sure, because they were one team fight away from probably losing the series. Going down 2-0 after having 2 close games like that can be really demoralizing. But now that they've won that second game, they can very easily say, we should be up 2-0. We can play with more confidence that we are in fact the better team.
Yep.
And that's the type of things that you can truly believe going into this game 3 after the comeback fight they were able to have at the end of game 2.
Well, Dirk doing exactly what you're supposed to on this Aurora, just straight up zoning Xiaoshu out of this lane. It's beautifully done. Meanwhile, here on this bottom side of the map, it's not necessarily a huge one, but live now is the Act 2 Battle Pass bundle. Purchasing unlocks the Prestige Requiem Sona skin and the Chroma. So if you want that, go in and grab it. As Saint fighting against Honku here, a couple more autos would have done it, but didn't have quite the time to get underneath that turret and make that one happen. As Junja is over here, Orbit Deception does go a little bit wide. Getting a bit of health back.
Saint has that one ward on the Raptors of Junja, so he's going to see exactly where the Vi is. So he's probably just going to shove this next wave in and then probably back off a little bit, maybe take a base.
Do like that he's not playing overly aggressively, looking for that kill, but now that he gets this crash to come on forward, he just flashes on in, doesn't find the Q. There's the first blood.
What a play!
And will just wander his way out. Junja not able to respond.
Well, he saw that Junja had walked up after killing the Raptors and wasn't in danger of ganking, and then Honku greeds on that wave. The wave was so big that Saint's able to flash fall and get the kill, but then because he went so deep, actually being able to drop the turret aggro and walk straight back to the turret, that was greatly played by Saint.
Just utilizing all the information that he had available to him, and like you say, this is a monster wave. As the flash comes in, Q misses, doesn't actually matter. He manages to pick that one up and then immediately walks back on down. So returning the favor from game number 1. Last time around it, we looked a little bit more dicey for the LYON mid laner.
It's the mental advantage. Game 2, the Victor play was a head scratcher.
The momentum, Jat, it's exactly right. They're utilizing it very, very well. I'm not going to do that again. That's the last time. It's the last time.
We've done enough.
Yeah, we've certainly tried to coin too many things that aren't real.
Yeah, triangles and square drafts as well as temple markers.
Yeah.
I think we've hit our quota for things we're allowed to make up in a very close LCS versus LPL series when LCS hasn't beaten LPL in a best of 5, and we saw a Kangas tweet over 2,400 days. The last time it happened would have been, we believe, TL versus IG.
2019?
MSI 2019. I
feel like that's what it is. As we do have a bit of an engage here from Vampire. Goes on in. As Berserker still looking for some angles, but It's going to be JDG standing their ground for now, inspired behind enemy lines right here, as we can see.
Yeah.
And there is the dash out from Berserker, as Isles looking to get in onto Gala here. Does have the Eclipse running, but still taking a lot of damage, as we can see. And the flash was actually needing to be utilized there, as Inspired goes forward, looking for a Grump this time around. Yeah. He lost his obsession with the Raptors, instead going to go for this little Grump fight.
Burns his smite early, doesn't get the Grump, so ends up using his tempo token right there before he goes back to his Raptors.
You just coined another one, Jay. You told me we're not allowed to do that.
I cheated. I'm sorry. Just felt right in the moment.
Tempo. Burns the tempo token. I actually kind of love that, though. I feel like that works better.
It probably does, than a tempo marker.
Yeah. Burns the tempo token. I feel like they're in an arcade.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Well, Saint has hit that level 6. Does have Realm Warp now available. Can affect the rest of these lanes. As Xiaoshu continuing to really have a rough time up against Okla.
Which is how the early laning phase you would expect it to go. He's gone Grasp, Second Wind, as well as Doran Shield and Biscuits. He's doing everything he possibly can to survive the early laning phase. Definitely gets way more powerful once he gets a couple of items. Very early game, not the strength of Zehen top lane, so Dokla trying to get as much advantage in this stage of the game as he can.
Yep. And as we can see, it's almost 1,000 gold to lead. Just that first blood for LYON, but still being able to do a decent job in almost all of the lanes, especially the solos, as Isles is going to be able to get that Zenith Blade on top of Vampire. It does punish him on that engage. Still, it is a fair bit of work being done here by the Zyra Khan.
Yeah, almost a classic bot lane we see here. This is the type of stuff we'd see before everyone was locked into lane until role quest completion, back when people would swap and could just run away with CC. So even though we haven't seen much of it this year, both these teams are going to be very comfortable playing these matchups.
Oh, Xiaoshu going for a little bit of an all-in here as Dokla possibly in trouble.
Might have to ult.
Yeah, Weeding comes out. And doesn't actually need to. Misses a couple of buttons, but is otherwise all right. 10 CS advantage still held on to. And Junja takes the crab.
Level 6 on Ari-Vi, though. Saint has to have a lot of respect if he doesn't have an Ambessa in his back pocket. But actually...
Oh, dear. This could be scary. And Dokla's fresh off a teleport as well. The flash forward from Xiaoshu doesn't really find too much. And it looks like Junja is just going to be going back.
Doesn't want to let the
between
wave in.
worlds. I don't know about that one.
No, this is really well played by Dokla. If
clears out the wave.
Yeah, if the wave gets in, he probably dies to the gank from Vi, but they're not willing to just go in and take turret shots from the very start of the gank, so nice job by Dokla to burn his ult there. Kind of felt the gank, didn't have full vision on the Vi, but he's like, there's no way Xiaoshu's playing this way. Yeah. Can't let this wave crash. Vi's probably in my jungle.
And there is so much vision. Have a look at this. All the way up that river towards the top side. JDG knows what's going on, but they don't know what's going on that bottom side. So it's a trade of blue buffs.
He could still gank him here through the wall. Decides against it. Okay, Dokla's burned a lot of time.
Yeah.
From Junja.
And they don't necessarily know it, because of course they didn't know that he was up there, but still.
Yeah, they're 90% sure, because Inspired also invaded blue buff and Grom, stole both of them away during that time. So they were playing the entire map as if they had full vision of the Vi.
Well, Honky now just going to be able to clear out this vision, these minions in the mid lane. And he's, you know, catching back up as far as CS numbers are concerned, but still that 500 gold lead is there for Saint on this Rise. And Rise is obviously the big ticket pick in this game. Already has his Catalyst done and is going to be a huge problem in this game.
Yep, nice job by Berserker there, clearing the wave and interrupting a reset with his level 6 on Ezreal.
Would that get him a tempo token?
Yeah.
Cool.
If it was a thing. it would have given him the tempo.
Just wanted to check, just to make sure. Yeah. So I am up with all the lingo so far. There's a bit of a teleport in from Vampire as well. He's back out onto the map with his unsealed spellbook. And Saint going to be able to clear out a control ward and doing their very best to clear up this top side that had been littered with vision from JDG. So Void Grubs up and available. Let's see whether Inspired just dives on over towards those right now, as there is a fair bit of control here for LYON elsewhere on the map.
For sure. These early games from LYON have been consistently good.
Yeah.
This gives a lot of hope for the rest of the series, as Berserker still doesn't have Flash, but does have E. Able to not have to burn it right now. Watch out, Dokla.
Yep, there is a Vault Breaker Flash, and then the Cease and Desist comes in. He's just dead. You got to watch out for saying things, chat, I think.
Yep.
Stop saying things.
You got it from here on out, Atlas.
Okay, never mind. You can say things, it's just not things like that, okay? People might say that it's a caster curse. And so we don't want to risk that. But it doesn't really matter. He's still doing his job, right? And if Vi gets a gank off with her ultimate and flash, obviously that is difficult to avoid.
Yeah, it relieves a bit of pressure on the other lanes. At the very least, Saint can play more aggressively in this lane. Inspired can continue to try and power farm up until his Eclipse, where he will get very strong. Do have to watch out here. They have a numbers advantage. Yeah, just ult for cleanse. That's a decent trade.
Not too much of anything else happening from that one, though. And it's about a 300 gold lead. Saint was cheating towards the bottom side of the map, but no Realm Warp angle available. And Honky still fishing for these charms. Not quite finding the buttons here.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I've learned from watching Saint the last couple years is he's just an incredibly arrogant player in the way that he positions. Because when it works, but it also leaves him open to being punished fairly often. And in this game, with the turret dive working out, and then also that another big trade on a Honkyu, it is working out so far.
Yeah, certainly is. And I think it does make sense for a guy that played on the same team as Showmaker for quite some time. As he goes in, there's a grand entrance there as well. Quickness comes on down. And Saint doing his very best to try and escape this one. I think he's going to be able to. I feel like that's illegal that he got out there.
It's super illegal, but that's the way he plays. I mean, he burns his coast, he gets a plate, but technically he burned a lot of time. Junja went mid lane, Vampire used ultimate, and Saint was going to reset after that play anyway, so ends up being a good play. I don't know if many coaches would agree that that is the play to go for, but when it works, it works.
Either he has incredible risk assessment, or he's just crazy.
Some say he has better mechanics than JoJo. His jungler has said that in an interview, Inspired.
Wow, that's crazy.
He rarely says anything from anyone is better than JoJo, if you know Inspired.
Well, that's Isles just trading his ultimate for everything that Gala has.
Good as well.
One after the other, as the Featherstorm does come on down. A couple of Void Grubs do go back over to Inspired as well. I think he went back and finished off the remaining two, so 3 of those going in their direction at the same time. And so JDG without very much of an objective to their name at this point in the game.
Yeah. Lion's going to have to start thinking about Drake soon if they're going to be holding this much pressure across the 3 waves. Although Saint is probably fairly happy stacking this tier, working up towards Rod of Ages against the Ahri Vi early game. But finally, Inspired and Rise link up, and they might make a play bot here.
Yeah, Isles going in. Finds the Zenith Blade angle. Eclipse just makes him pretty much immortal as he goes in. And that means that they clear out the wave very comfortably, take the tempo marker into the river, and look to see whether they can use that to grab themselves a Drake. As in the meantime, Saint just going to be running real fast, and they're going to turn this into an engage onto Vampire as well. He's going to be forced to go for a reset. It does feel like Lion have a lot of control here, although Inspired does get charmed up. Stashes around. We'll be able to survive.
Isles has first move, might go for re-engage.
Yeah, there's the public execution as Isles gets on in there. Cease and desist to try and mitigate some of that CC. But Junja should still be going down despite being able to do a fair bit of damage. The flash in from Inspired, that'll do it. Solar Flare for the last hit, not sure about that one. But still, I mean, it gets the job done.
Yeah, it gets them the kill onto Junja. Think he was going to die anyway. Now
Saint is definitely going to flash. Never mind, he's fine.
Wow.
I wasn't going to say definitely going to die. No.
The Mercury Tread's tenacity gives him just enough time to flash away.
He's not allowed to back there. So many illegal things being done from this man.
He's playing with confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And it's working. So keep it up, Saint.
Maybe Showmaker did, like, personally teach him how to play the game.
The big thing about this play ends up being the roam from Isles at the end of it, staying out of Fog of War because of the work Isles and Berserker have been doing bot lane. So as Inspired lands the R, they're able to try and chain the CC. And basically Junja getting over the wall here. I'm pretty sure Inspired was going to just finish him.
And Inspired's Ambassador, so he's
going to catch
him. How did my
dashes.
Q not hit? He just queued out?
Yeah.
Well.
Still a kill. Got the assist gold. We'll take it.
We'll take it indeed. And 2-1 in favor of Lion. They have over 1,000 gold in the lead. And Gala, he does have his ultimate back available. He's going to throw it out right now, but Berserker just creates as much space as he would like with his Arcane Shift. And Lion is so good at just playing around these cooldowns. Like, that gets thrown out. They don't go inside the feathers. They just back away. They'll look for another fight when he has absolutely nothing to mitigate it.
Berserker Isles have had really strong laning phases in all 3 of these games against Gala and Vampire, who have been one of the strong points of JDG to get here to first stand. So this isn't even a game where they necessarily over-prioritize lane, but the LYON Ezreal at this point is winning against the Zyra Khan. Last
time we saw JDG, I actually felt like it was the bottom lane that was performing exceptionally well, especially Gala.
Yeah.
This time around, it is LYON with a whole lot of control, and it hasn't been JDG picking for priority down there either.
I think that's one of the bigger things is the draft as well, keeping Seraphine permabanned. The Karma in game 1 would have been the moment, but the Poke Varus was keeping it down, even though LYON did end up losing this game. Now they have to watch out for Junjo, though.
Yeah, Junjo looking for a bit of an angle here. Does have the Vi. You can pretty much guarantee that this gank should be successful if they do stay up, but that is not what they're going to do. Instead, Junjo just going to head over towards this Drake. Look to try and take that one down. That'd be first dragon of the game at almost 15 minutes. It's one of the latest first Drakes that we've had so far this tournament, as Vampire just has to quickness grand exit. That's a lot invested to try and stop a back, but at least he does.
It stopped the back. And now Junja overstaying on the map a little bit after Drake. Saint sniffs it out. Still very close competitive game here. This first Drake Chemtech soul means we're incredibly far away from a
Doku going between the worlds here as the Realm Warp to deliver Rise towards his top lane. Grim Deliverance, but the Ghost gets Saint out of the way, and Xiaoshu is just going to be held at arm's length and taken down. It's Saint that grabs that kill, his second of the game, and LYON just really not allowing for any openings. It should be Doku grabbing this top outer turret as well.
Yeah, he's been chipping away at this turret, having a lot of push onto the Zehen, and Saint is having just a great game.
He really is. What a bounce back from game number 2 as well. It was a difficult time for him, but this time picks up that first blood by himself underneath the enemy outer turret, and then able to help out Doku in top lane as well.
Live by Saint, die by Saint as well. Hopefully just live. Hopefully just live for the rest of this game.
He's playing Rise. I mean, this champion's busted.
And also, look at this. Zehen can teleport down bottom, but he just collects another full wave bottom, likely collects some crystalline overgrowth on that turret as well. Full Rod of Ages, almost finished stacking his tier. Berserker definitely has to watch out here, though.
Yep, Arcane Shift should be able to get him over there, but Junja is just going to throw down the ulti. There's the knockup. Charm is connected. Oh, that layering of CC was perfect out of JDG. Yeah. And that is what happens when you have barrier instead of cleanse.
Saint has to watch out now as well. Dokla could teleport in, but wouldn't want to because he's got a full wave to collect up there. But a 3-man dive onto Saint, who is flashless and ghostless.
Yep. And I mean, Cleanse would have allowed him to cleanse Flash after the cease and desist, but I think he still would have been dead. So
that's a strong res.
Not too much of a big deal here as Saint just trying to get them out of underneath this turret.
Yeah. Not only did the Leona come to defend, but they also got the Aurora TP, so that's probably play worth.
Whoa, okay. Miles goes for the Flash Zenith Blade to try and get onto them, but it's just a flash out from Junja. You will take that. Support Flash for the Jungle Flash, probably feeling pretty good. Yeah. Doesn't have Hex Flash, which is a little bit of a shame, but...
And, Inspired has 2 levels on Junja, by the way.
That is a... What? Why?
Yeah. The 40
so
CS.
Much farm. Okay, well, Saint is now potentially in trouble. Grim Deliverance is going to come on in. He's trying to run this one out. As the Grand Entrance going to hold him in position, and there is a shutdown going over to the Zehen. And I think, as far as where to put shutdown money, that is not where LYON wanted to put shutdown money.
That's exactly where JDG wanted to put the shutdown money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Stridebreaker Mercury Treads on the Zehen now, 2 kills. He will end up being a problem in this game. Still a very close game, as Inspired is able to pick up the Rift Herald and likely use this to break mid, but Xiaoshu getting even more gold now. The original play was defended, but then they went for the repeat play, and it caught Saint off guard.
And having a look there at the Coinbase gold grind, the fact that Gala is ahead in gold as well is not something that I was expecting to see in this lane, with the fact that they just had a lot of control in the early stages. Gala has bounced back quite well. As we move towards the end of this mid-game, things are pretty much tied up, except for the fact that there is that 1 Drake on JDG. Next one going to be an Infernal. Pretty good single Drake, to be perfectly honest. And I imagine LYON wanting to even out that count, stop that double dragon from happening here. Just feels like we're so much earlier in the game. And we're talking about second Drake,
for sure.
It's almost 20 minutes.
Yeah, Inspired was definitely prioritizing his level advantage over Vi in this one. Potentially even just trying to delay when Soul is needing to be fought over because Rise is so good in split pushing scenarios. I can understand the strategy of just, if we don't hit Drake, they don't hit Drake. And then that means a potential Soul point force is going to delay long enough for Rise to become Thanos, right? So I don't think it's, I think it's a good thing for LYON that the first Drake was so late, even if the last shutdown was a bad thing for LYON.
Decent little charm there. But of course, the upgraded Merc Tread's going to feel pretty nice here for Saint, keeping himself relatively safe and just clearing out this wave. But it is a lot of push that JDG has, a lot of control here towards this bottom side of the map with 40 seconds left on this Dragon. They're doing everything that they can to make sure that they have as much control prepared. But now you've got LYON moving in, Vision being cleared out, and Inspired with that level advantage should be able to try and out-muscle them as far as getting some control around this Dragon Pit.
Yeah, Dokka's sitting on Proto Belt, which would make him strong, but he needs to clear out this top wave, and he doesn't have his teleport yet, but Xiaoshu does, so I would expect this to be a slow-played situation by LYON. Like, if LYON has the control, I don't think they should start the Drake right away unless Dokka wants to give more turret gold over to his hand, which I don't think would be wise. Yet, he's roaming down for this Drake control.
Seeing whether he can get there, but I imagine that Xiaoshu will just stick around, as now Vampire, having the grand exit, will be able to do so.
Burn his Ghost from Spellbook as well.
Yeah. And okay, Dokka does pick up that wave. That should mean that JDG are allowed to enter this river, understanding that there isn't a teleport available here on the Aurora.
Yeah, they have implied numbers advantage at the moment.
Hello, Baron. Just going to swim away. It's nice to see
swim
you.
On through.
Yep. Just showing us that we are very late for our second Drake of the game. Baron showing up at the same time. There it is.
Teleport up for Dokka now, though, so they've delayed it long enough that they could contest if they want, but they've given up control, so it's hard for them to enter, especially against Ahri, Vi, Rakan, who could one-shot them if they walk too close.
Well, Berserker is just going to clear out the minions. Bottom lane is just kind of being forgotten at this point, as the charm just barely goes wide.
How's Mike going on that?
And Honku just getting burst down by Berserker, throws out the True Shot Barrage, but doesn't exactly find too much joy. As the Rift Herald coming down as well. I do really like the Battle Rift Herald as Inspired. Wondering where he wants to use it.
Me too.
Thinking about going for a bit of an engage towards Gala, but just takes down that turret. There's the charm onto Inspired. The quickness doing a fair bit of work there, but where's the follow-up? The damage is not quite there as now Dokka turns up. Doesn't quite get the angle. Cease and desist does come in, but the knockups are returned. And into the backline goes Xiaoshu. This guy is so big. The Grim Deliverance though finds nothing. Still Saint is going to die, and LYON will still be losing this team fight, and possibly the Dragon as well, unless Berserker can make some heroism happen.
LYON really not on the same page at the start of this fight. Berserker was in base when Inspired went in for that Rift Herald crash. So he gets the 2 plates. They do get the jungler, which is keeping the Drake alive, maybe for one more cycle, but the overall team fight does go over to the side of JDG.
Only a 600 gold advantage, and they didn't manage to take the Drake. So that is the good news here for LYON. We can just do this again and run it back. But let's have a look at how this all started.
Aurora's TPing on mid-wave. Berserker's running out of base, and everyone on LYON just has to run. A lot of damage actually turned back onto Junja, but then there's still the numbers advantage. So Xiaoshu can just run forward with impunity. Honku ends up picking up the kill onto Saint, and we are back for another tango at the Dragon Pit.
Yep, round 2, and let's see whether it's going to work out in favor of LYON or whether JDG can finish it off this time around. 2-item spike is big here for Berserker though, as let's see whether he can land the damage that he wants to. As, oh dear, a little bit caught out of position here is Junja, and he has to just get out of there. I think this could just mean that LYON will be able to take this Dragon, because without any help on your jungler, makes things real hard to smite. And so LYON will be able to take this one down, and they'll grab themselves a crab to boot. There that is. Charm goes wide, and LYON this time, without a contest, going to be able to take that Drake.
Good amount of damage they're able to get down onto Junja. He's having a tough game with how much Inspired has been countering his jungle. So 210 CS to 158 is going to feel a little bit underpowered compared to what Inspired is in these team fights, kind of holding that 2-level advantage as well. But still a very competitive game overall. The name we haven't said much that we might be saying a lot later in this game is Gala. Because the Xayah scaling is real, and Gala's carried many a game on Xayah in his career.
And also almost moving towards 3 items as well when he does have that Lord Doms. Unless he decides to go for Mortal Reminder or something like that, but there's not a lot of healing. So it should just be Lord Doms here for Gala. And then Infinity, like 4-item Xayah is so incredibly frightening and will have a whole lot more consistent damage than what Berserker will be representing. Right now is when Berserker is the most powerful. And so I do like that LYON were trying to force around that, but they're going to have to continue trying to make things happen, because there is a certain inevitability of Gala on this Xayah, as you were talking about. Even if the range is relatively low, as Isles in the back of the Baron Pit. that is able to mitigate most of Baron's damage as he does vacate the area. Vision available for JDG.
Yeah. Really tense game.
It is.
Really tense series so far. Game 1 had the tension the whole time, even though it was up 7-0, with it being one fight away. LYON ends up losing that one. Felt like it was going to turn into a sweep in Game 2 because LYON made a couple mistakes after their early game lead, but they clutched it up, won that big team.
I mean, there was a
end.
rumble with a 5,000 gold lead. That should not be a thing that loses the game. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you know.
There was a very large Berserker in that game. The Berserker in this game is also looking pretty powerful, although he is behind a bit of gold at this point. But right now, the items are certainly looking good.
Yeah, thinking about the way these team fights are going to progress, so much of it is about who can make the right engage. The team that goes in first might actually win this one.
Dokla is going to be able to bounce back to the other side of the ultimate here, as Solo Player is just going to slow down Vampire, but he doesn't seem too worried about it. Isles still looking for an opportunity. There is no turret up here as Inspired and Saint are both delivered, but the teleport does come on in. Grand Entrance only gets the knock up onto Saint as Honku takes a lot of damage. In they go as Berserker is kind of free hitting. They do take down Ginger, but it is Inspired that falls as well. Isles going to be taken down, and Gala is just hitting whatever the heck he likes in the back line. And is going to be able to live through it, doing so much damage. And JDG, are they just looking for a Baron? That'd be a little bit frightening, as Honku is going to be able to take the Crystalline Overgrowth and takes down the turret.
That could be the game that swings it in JDG's, sorry, the fight that swings the game in JDG's favor as they get 3-4-1. You could see LYON was really hard forcing that. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised they didn't go for the Baron, mainly because they don't have Smite and they're thinking like Aurora Ezreal could steal it, but it was going to be 4 versus 2. I think LYON might have dodged a bullet at the end here, but you can see the teleport comes in on the Realm Warp, and then LYON realizes they kind of just have to run. Gala gets out so much damage onto Inspired as they're trying to retreat, and LYON can just never get a good line set up as JDG just kind of run through the three of them. Great TP counter to Saints engage with the Realm Warp.
Not to mention Vampire just having an absolute field day in that fight. So much value out of the quickness and his Grand Entrance towards the end there, making sure that they pick off Isles. Really beautifully done. That's going to surge JDG into a 3,000 gold advantage. LYON not out of it just yet, but it is looking more and more difficult as this game goes on. And Xiaoshu possibly caught out of position, does have that Grim Deliverance. Saint goes golden to avoid that damage as now Berserker has finally turned up. But Xiaoshu is so difficult to kill. Inspired goes in, but him and Saint are just dead. And the rest of LYON couldn't really do anything about it. Honku will be able to find a charm as well, as that is not the teleport that Dokla was looking for. He tries to go between the worlds, but the world he finds is in the Death Chamber.
Xiaoshu is out of control in this game, absolutely dominating Saint at the start of that fight, and then everyone else on LYON just trickles in to die. It wasn't Baron before, it's definitely Baron now.
It certainly is, and this is something that we set up earlier on in the game as well, but let's have a look at how it all happened.
Really just taking the ego fight with Saint in the river and realizing he's stronger, and despite Inspired trying to fly in, the map was more in the favor of JDG. They can get numbers to the fight first, and then Honku also scouting this TP, landing the perfect charm onto Dokla, who was late on the TP to get the 3rd kill of the fight.
Yeah, it was beautifully done, and you can see Tabe not celebrating too much just yet.
I mean, we cannot know why LYON is bot. We are running away from bot.
And Inspired not looking too happy about how things are going now. Let's see whether they can turn it around. 6,000 gold is the advantage here for JDG, but not a lot of Drakes have been taken so far in this game. True. It's another Cloud Soul. I did want to talk about it earlier on, but felt like, you know, I do talk about it probably too much. Xiaoshu down here towards his bottom side. He is so frightening on this end. And Dokla, I don't think, is going to be able to clear out these Baron up minions in time. Rebel Baron power play looking a whole lot better here. 1,600 at this point in time with still 2 minutes left to go. And JDG just looking to balloon this advantage, move themselves towards match point, unless LYON can do something heroic.
Yeah, at the same time, though, you could see Tabe not counting his eggs before they hatch into chickens.
Yeah.
This time.
Not counting his chickens before they hatch, I think, is the line.
Yeah.
But if you do count chickens before they've hatched, they are indeed eggs, Chad. You're absolutely right.
Yep, absolutely. Just because of what happened in last game. Look at that.
It just sounds a bit weird when you say it a little bit wrong. It's okay, Isles. Let's have the Eclipse, but the inner turret is just going to fall. And man, JDG just moving like a steamroller towards LYON, and it looks like LYON just cannot get themselves into the positions that they want to. Isles moves up. I don't know whether that Zenith Blade hitting would have been a good thing, but now JDG go for the re-engage. Again, Vampire just takes control. The charm connects as well, but they go in between the worlds. There is the public execution. Dokla grabs one kill, but unfortunately, that is probably all they're going to get, as it's a double for Gala. And Berserker is standing on a control ward, wanting to try and take someone down. Dokla going to get delivered grimly, and Xiao Shu should be able to flash on forward to help grab this for Gala. There is the ace, and maybe JDG have had enough of this game.
When JDG starts winning a team fight, they win the team fight.
They really do continue to win the team fight.
On the edges of these fights. What a beautiful finish to this game by JDG.
I have to say, the player of the game is a little bit easier this time around as well. Vampire has been just so incredibly good. As you can see, Isles doing his very best to distract these minions and JDG, but the Nexus turrets are just going to fall down. Half a turret remaining, and they will be able to push this minion wave forward. So JDG will be able to collect match point here, but LYON made them work for it. They had an advantage throughout a lot of this game, and I think that we haven't seen the last of them, as of course, we've still got one more game to go. I think it is time to get into the draft here for the 4th game of the series.
Absolutely.
To see whether we will be gifted a 5th.
Oh, time to lock in.
Oh no, okay.
The music's changed.
I feel like it's now so much more intense. As okay, Trundle going to be the first ban. There is the Seraphine taken away yet again. No Ashe Seraphines in this particular series. As okay, it is going to be JDG on the blue side once again. Fun fact, Jad.
Yeah, let me hear it.
Last game was the very first red side win for JDG this tournament.
Oh, fun.
Isn't it fun? What a fun fact.
Amazing. Go LYON 3-2.
I love
Agreed.
This is one of my favorite fan signs from the LCK as well. Just keep crossing it out until you get the one that you want, or you don't at all, and then you just leave. Is generally how it goes.
Opinion. Okay. Red alert, red alert.
Okay.
Scion. They banned the Trundle. I think and the Maokai early.
Are they just trying to ban as many junglers as possible to make sure that Inspired is as uncomfortable as possible?
Potentially.
These don't really feel like I feel like Inspired's champion pool is kind of gigantic. Like, where's the Nunu ban, you know?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, for what it's worth, this tournament, he has looked best on champions that are already gone. Like Nocturne, Wukong, Xin, Vi.
Yep.
When he's been pushed onto the other archetypes, it hasn't necessarily worked with the rest of the LYON team. It's not FlyQuest anymore, where Blippo's playing all this weird stuff. It was a little bit in playoffs when Dokla was pulling out the Varus and the Vayne, but I think they got a little bit scared off of that.
3 jungle bans, maybe that guy is going to get his fiddlesticks.
This is four jungle bans if you combine both teams, and then the 6 bans from Fearless, which...
That makes 10.
Good math. 11, Zehen is a jungle flex. And see the Scion.
Okay.
They set it up with the Trundle ban. This would be the time where LYON would wait a little bit longer and then try and play Vayne again if they wanted to counterpick, but I think they're a little bit scared away from trying to have these counterpicks with them having a low hit rate on them so far at first stand with their success.
Yeah, I think if this was the LCK and I was using my LCK brain, it might just be a Gwen slam at this point in time, but I don't know whether that's what Dokla wants to do. You could even just lock in a bottom lane that you really like. I feel like Berserker and Isles in lane have been really, really good. Or just have a flex pick. The Aatrox into tanks has been a pretty decent option, as well as being able to flex into the jungle if you would like it to. As Inspired, looking uninspired at this point on the cam, but does need to hover his Nidalee before we do anything.
Yeah, I could still see this turning into a couple of big 5v5 drafts. The Aatrox can definitely flex between jungle and top lane. He obviously always does this Nidalee hover.
Yep.
And they're going for big 5v5 team fighting. They're saying, okay, Aphelios, Lulu's banned. Maybe they try and pick Thresh before they get to the next round of picks. And we'll see if JDG just matches with, you know, Jinx, the classic Jinx Aphelios mirror match.
We have seen this. Which one's like more common? Is it the Xayah Kai'Sa that we've seen from about 2017 until now? Or is it the like Aphelios Jinx? Or is it the Lucian Nami Zeri Lulu?
I think there's been more more games of Kai'Sa Xayah, but I feel like these two champions are like highest percentage of games played against the other AD carry.
Yeah.
Would probably be these two.
I feel like it just happens all the time. Even if, like, Jinx isn't exactly top of the meta, and wow, they're even going to pick away the Thresh.
Well, generally speaking, you want to play this champion, either one of these archetypes, with Thresh or Lulu, and Lulu's already banned, so...
Tom Kench for Isles?
Yeah, that's the tricky thing.
Where's the Toad? Oh, it's going to be a
Isles
Nautilus
does have a good Nautilus, but it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for Berserker to stay alive in teamfights without having the safety of the Thresh Launcher, but at the same time, no Orianna control mage, no Victor, no Annie, no diving top laner. They might be able to get away with it, and then they just have a stronger team fighter in the Nautilus if Berserker can stay safe.
Yeah, I think revealing what Junja and Honky are going to be playing is going to be very telling as to whether or not Berserker can carry this game.
Yeah.
Because it could be very, very difficult. Obviously, Gala with a lot more mobility around the team fights here. Get excited and then win the fight. That is kind of the aim of the game here, as Twisted Fate certainly would be one of those things that could just lock down Berserker for a moment.
Yeah, good ban right there. I do wonder... Like, the thing that I like right now for LYON is the fact that they're holding a flex pick. So they can still pull out something crazy in their 5th pick. So I think they're kind of setting up mid lane bans now so that Saint can blind pick his mid laner on 4. And then we'll see if they throw Dokla up against a Scion as Aatrox and have Inspired on something weird. That's kind of what JDG is expecting right now with the continued jungle bans for Inspired. Maybe trying to push him onto the Aatrox.
So that's 11 bans so far in the jungle. Let's see whether there's going to be even more. Maybe LYON just go for an agreement. They're going to start banning junglers as well. We'll have 13 taken away, and it's finally a Mumu's time to shine. You know, maybe we get there.
I mean, at a certain point, what's Junja going to play?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
He's got Mundo still.
Oh, that's a really good point. That's actually a decent option for either team at this point in time. They'll be very tank heavy on JDG's side with that Scion already shown. So we're going to be looking for a lot of damage out of Honkyu.
Yeah, he's got Mundo still. Jace is technically still able to be played in the jungle, but I don't think it really fits these comps.
Mundo
then
is
you
now
got stuff like
banned.
Kiana, Sejuani.
Kiana is
Poppy.
certainly one. And with the Scion there for JDG, I feel like it fits their composition. Plus, they're an LPL team, and LPL is the only region that can really play Kiana. As far as I know.
Would you just play Azir here, even with the nerfs? With all the control mage bans, and you're playing front to back.
It does work as peel at the same time.
Could be an Inspired Sejuani.
I do kind of like the Sejuani with the fact that the Trundle has been banned away.
Yeah, we're just team fighting now, man.
Yeah. And what does it mean for where Saint's going to go in the mid lane? Because you can then play some pretty fun stuff that can synergize with the Permafrost. So is it going to be like a Silas angle or something like that? That could be a little bit of fun.
It'll depend on these last 2 picks by JDG here. So JDG needs to pick mid-jungle with the Sejuani being taken away and Mundo gone. I mean, surely in Tabe we trust for what they're going to be picking jungle, but they have banned their own junglers as well.
Yeah. There are a lot of things that have been taken away. I feel like Sejuani is not one of those picks that's very easy to counter, but Poppy Jungle could certainly fit that bill. Now, Vampire, what does he want to pick up for Honkyu? Like, is it just Azir? Like, Azir does kind of fit, I guess, because you can sort of peel as well on the champion. A lot of consistent damage as well as you move later into the game.
I mean, LYON needs the consistent damage a bit more to cut through the Scion, since LYON has a bit more bruiser, whereas JDG has a bit more tank.
Still the Mel.
Okay, the Mel blind pick will make them... I mean, Mel's good against stationary AD carries like Aphelios.
Moonlight Vigil as well can be reflected, and that could be a little bit scary.
I feel like you get outscaled by a lot of different mid lane picks, though.
Well, let's see whether Saint is going to be able to find one of those mid lane picks.
I think it's a good Azir angle.
Well, he is going to look for it.
Caps notwithstanding. Caps did win the Azir versus Melvin.
He did. He did. Let's just not talk about what happened throughout the very early stages of the game.
Victory.
Yep, exactly. And that's how you determine whether a pick is good. Did they win?
These team comps remind me of 2020 or 2021 League of Legends. Aside from the Mel. Aside, everything but the Mel. Reminds me of 5 years ago.
It's quite old school. Yeah, the Mel wouldn't have existed, so that would just be a bunch of question marks.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we are certainly going back a fair amount of time. So well and truly in our wheelhouse, chat. You know, we have been, we're old, is what I meant. So Sion versus Aatrox should be decent for Dokla there towards the top side of the map. I am a little bit worried about Inspired's ability to actually go for 2v2s towards that top side, just because Arc Patrol is so important for the Sejuani, and Steadfast Presence can really make you have a bad time. So I think Junja going to have some the balls in his court, I feel like, for the early stages of the game. But outside of that, these are two team fighting compositions that are just going to butt heads at every later dragon in this game. We could have another barn burner that just really goes a long time.
I think this game could set up to be very close and very long. I was also thinking, with the way that LYON won the first 3 laning phases, that they might actually consider picking a scaling teamfighting draft for Game 4, because they shouldn't be afraid of getting run over in lane phase.
Yeah.
Like happened against Gen G, and since they've lost these games as they get later, okay, let's just pick some more scaling. Tabe kind of had the same idea, though, setting up for the Sion first pick, and both of these teams have kind of just opted in to 5v5 scaling team comps.
And there is tank shred. With that Azir lock-in, you were mentioning it, they do need that consistent damage, but I mean, if you get a Leandri, things like this, the Sion does not feel as tanky as it otherwise would, and also needs to be building armor in this game, right? Like, if you don't have a Bramble Vest, you're just going to die to the Aatrox, and so no Kaenic Rooker going to be coming out early or anything like that, as we've seen to try and mitigate some of the downsides. I think that the Azir will be able to do a lot of work into this Sion if Saint can keep himself safe in this game.
I don't love Sion, or rather the Aatrox side of the Sion matchup, just because I feel like you need to win the lane by so much in order to have any threat later on in the laning phase. So Dokla's going to have his work cut out for him for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who it was that really had a phenomenal time in that matchup that I saw recently, because it did impact my brain and how I feel about it. But as you say, I mean, Sion just has a good kit for very early in the game and can just win a lot of matchups. So we'll just have to see. We are going to be restarting the game here, so it's just going to take a little bit longer, but obviously nothing going to be changed as far as these drafts are concerned. It's going to take a little bit of time as we do pan over the studio here. I just want to say, the Brazilian fans have been unbelievable at making sure that every team gets cheered for.
Yes.
Like, there's been none of the library scenarios that we've had in past international tournaments. It's just been constant cheers for everyone.
Yeah, when we got to have the fans in the analyst area for the LYON versus Loud series earlier, that was an awesome experience.
Yes,
they were so
cool.
passionate, such good fans. It wasn't super personal, even if they were super passionate when we were predicting.
And you tried to bait them as best you could.
I did. I tried.
I remember, and it was beautifully navigated. But I was a little bit afraid that you might step a little bit too far. But you did a very good job, and the fans forgave you, and that is certainly a good thing.
Already some vertical jungling going on.
Yeah.
As Junja was on a ward when he walked through into Raptor, so Inspired will know that his jungle has been invaded. Won't know when it gets left, though, whether or not he's going to be trying to cross for Raptors or his own blue or go for Krug. So there's going to be some guesswork going on in the jungle. I think we'll see some action from it.
Now there's Vampire just pushing Isles back with that flay. As Saint trying to deal with Honkyu here. It's been mainly Vikla playing the Mel so far this tournament. Honkyu going to try his hand at it now. He's already being able to shove in the Azir.
Yeah, where's Vikla now, though?
Probably on his way home.
Yeah, so a good sign for LYON so far.
Yep, absolutely. Although his Mel didn't do too badly.
No, it actually did really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just didn't do well at winning the game, which was problematic. JDG out to an early lead, though, with the fact that their lanes do have the push. Even top lane, we were seeing that Dokla had a decent exchange early, but wasn't quite able to find it. As great play there to mitigate the engage from Isles. As Inspired looking for a wraparound, as Honkyu already having to flash. And that Aftershock actually getting a lot of value there for Inspired.
Inspired doesn't have any camps left to farm, though. That's why he went for that gank. Can't go for red buff because the Jinx Thresh have push. but might be going for a quick gank here.
Yeah, the flash forward from Isles just to hold Vampire in position. There's the grab at him as well as Berserker will be able to find that moonshot, and there's first blood to the Aphelios. Berserker, yeah, he wants game 5.
Berserker Isles in lane this series has been exceptional. They had the extra confidence to go for that fight because Inspired was going to be first to that play, but they get the 2v2 kill before Inspired even enters the fight. So really well done. Plus the kill going under Berserker is the icing on the top of the cake.
Yep, it's absolutely perfect. I have to say, I do feel like there's some national pride happening here in this bottom lane of Australia and Korea, my 2 homes.
Absolutely.
This flash forward from Isles, man, he just knew that they had the kill threat and the gun knowledge here. The control from Berserker, just perfect.
Plus hitting level 3 mid-fight during that engage was just excellent timing across the board. So we're back to the Raptor battle, though.
Yeah, Ginger making
Isles
his way
is here.
in.
They're on top of things.
Yeah, finds the hook as well as Inspired. Going to see whether he can find the permafrost. There it is. Flash out from Ginger is going to be able to keep him safe. Does have that phase rush as well. Make sure that he can run away. But run away is what he needs to do, so no crab for the jungler of JDG.
Yeah, Inspired calling Isles up for that reinvade, managing the unique jungle situation very well in game 1 and here in game 4. Basically controlling both Raptors at this point, also getting double crab and I'd say almost like a hockey assist for First Blood. He was around.
Yep.
He helped give them faith.
As Honku is just clearing things as best he can, trying to get rid of some vision here towards his bottom side. Hook does come on through, but Isles is able to just use the dredge line to make sure that there is no further pullback. It was a pretty cute play. It was. Does mean that he also gets the lower cooldown on the anchor.
Yeah, Isles Nautilus quite legit. They were always gonna lose the first couple levels of laning phase, but once Nautilus gets a little bit ahead, he has better all-in, and Vampire hasn't even been able to buy an item, so any all-in that happens will be likely to favor Berserker and Isles in that bot lane.
Yeah. Saint did take a fair bit of damage here from Honku, finds his full combo onto the Azir. But there is Inspired making his way down. There is a lot of value out of this rebuttal. I think last time we saw the Mel, there were only a few things. You know, Tidal Wave, I think, was a big one. But this time around, Glacial Prison being thrown back towards LYON could be a huge deal. That's kind of absurd. Obviously, there is the thing that Freak was talking about, where the dredge line, if you rebut, that's probably not what you want to do. So that example could come on through. Did like that one from the champion spotlight. But Honku probably not going to be throwing it at Isles. But yeah, being able to throw back any sort of engage that Inspired goes for just makes things feel a little bit uncomfortable.
For sure. Another situation where it's looking like the JDG soul lanes are going to have the upper hand, but Berserker Isles are going to need to play a really solid game. The top lane definitely not going the way that LYON would hope. Doka already being down, 10-12 CS, already having to deal with the Bramble Vest Scion.
Yeah.
If Scion has a good early laning phase, gets that early Bramble Vest buy, it's kind of like lane over unless you get a considerable amount of help, but at the same time with this Aphelios in the game, it is not optimal for anyone to really go top lane. It's much more important that you play mid-bot.
And right now, Dokler is just going to do the very best he can. They do get some control here of this mid lane. Honku will be able to clear this one out in the end, but it gives Saint the ability to move. And the first dragon of the game could be an early one here at 6.5 minutes, but Junja going to be moving forward, gets right on top of Inspired here, only level 5 on the Sejuani as the steadfast presence is going to wear off. Berserker finally comes in. There's the Emperor's Divide as Vampire gets pulled back, but it's Gala that they want to take down. Red-white guns here for Berserker, and he wants to use them. Takes down Vampire for his first kill of this exchange, and the anchor just barely goes wide, but this should mean that the Dragon will go over the line if they want it.
Inch away from 2 kills, and they burn the Gala Flash. That's a big team fight win in the river early from LYON. Junja is going to want that engage back where he eat into the Sejuani, because that really kicked off a fight that was not in favor of JDG.
They didn't want it, and also it was an early steadfast presence there as well as Isles is moving in. Honku just realizing that he has to try and go all in onto Saint. Isles was just walking this entire time. Saint almost just dies, walks back to get the kill with an auto. That was insanity.
That's a clap moment for Saint. Has the null magic, so he's not getting one shot by the Mel. Early magic resist, very important in burst matchups like this. And just watching this fight one more time, There's just such good positioning here for LYON. Both tanks are in Aftershock for the first bit of the fight, so no burst able to come out for JDG. And then Berserker just makes sure Gala can't be involved, knowing that Vampire is already flashless and in the middle of the team, so they can clean that up later.
Beautifully done. I feel the 5. I'm feeling it, but I'm not going to count like the eggs of the chickens before they're doing the hatching and things like that. And I'm going to try not to do any more caster cursing because I already got called out for that one, and I apologize to everyone at home, and I'll do my very best to not do it. Still, early days.
Caster curses aren't real.
They're not real.
Which is why I normally try to do them frequently, because I know they're not real.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm also not going to play that game right now, because I know it's not real, so no reason to do it.
I mean, I do feel like it is real.
No, it's not.
Chronicler said that it wasn't real.
Yep,
Where is he now?
He's dead. He's
not dead, Chad. He's alive. He's back in the Netherlands, okay? I hope he's all right. Chronicler, can you let us know if you are watching? Just let us know that you're all right. That would be really important.
But like I said, caster curses aren't real. It doesn't matter what I say. He's going to be fine.
Caster curses aren't real, and the caster is no longer real. So, all right. Just trying to clear out some waves here as Berserker with his long-range weaponry here towards his bottom side, just looking to hold on to this wave. Gala is going to avoid that hook for now. They do want to be able to get this crash. Hook going to go wide. They are not going to quite get it. Junja in position, though. This could be a dangerous time. Poppycopter?
I mean,
what's it going to do,
even
though?
if it does land.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, what is the goal here?
Yeah. I was hoping maybe Inspired was approaching for a gank at that exact moment. Now Inspired actually is here.
Kind of a big deal that it's now on cooldown, though.
It's a short cooldown if you don't fire it.
He did fire it.
He fired it.
Yeah, he fired it.
No, I think that's a spectator bug. I think it's going to be back.
It was also nerfed to be on a longer cooldown if you don't fire it as well.
I think it'll be back. Yeah, see, 8 seconds.
All right, there we go. Never mind. Saint is not going to be able to find the Emperor's Divide, as there is some rebuttal there from Honkyu.
Yep. Inspired just crossing, hoping to get something through.
Wait a second, it's not back. Is it back or is it not back?
It's back.
So it's back, but it's not back?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's because it's like 2 different cooldowns on the ultimate. I think the spectator thing gets confused.
Okay. Well, if Junja doesn't
just start charging that up again, so I can prove my point.
I'd like to see it. Yeah. That's all right. Xiaozhu is going to get control of this Pixel Brush. Gets pulled back by the Infernal Chain. Stokely just doesn't seem to be doing damage to this Scion. Does have his Barmy Cinder now complete as well.
He never will.
Yeah.
That's how that lane
it's
works.
feeling like he just has the items that he needs.
Oh, hello.
As Isles is just going to move on over. Does manage to lock down Honkyu for now. Finds the depth charge there as well as in goes Saint. The box is down though as Vampire is controlling this pretty well. Super Mega Death Rocket lands onto Isles, but that is not the target he's really looking for. Some overwhelming happening here, but Saint not going to be taken out, and it's Vampire that falls first. Finally, Junja makes his way into this fight, and the sidestep on the zap is good from Isles, who is now looking to try and get on in here. The Moonlight Vigil comes down, and Berserker is going to make his presence known. Not going to quite get enough damage there, though, as the rebuttal gets the auto attack to go back towards the Aphelios.
Really well played, close fights happening right here. Berserker at 2-0. Isles sidestepping, really crucial CCs down the stretch, and Saint really maximizing his damage. And it feels like he's very confident playing against this Gwen with the way he's just spending a lot of time moving, basically, to make sure he's not getting hit by the skill shots.
Yeah. I feel like Saint has one mode. That's what I'm learning. I feel like things haven't changed since he was in the LCK
Saint
challenges.
Playing with confidence like he always does, whether or not it's warranted.
Yeah, it was a good hook there from Vampire, but unfortunately they did not quite have the firepower to take them down. Still, like you're saying, Saint just playing on the edge.
Yeah, right here, Isles tanking the first bit of the Jinx Rocket, so there's no chance it goes through to Saint. They finish the kill, and then dodging the zap right there from Gala, even landing the skill shot back in. I thought Isles played this fight incredibly well, flashing away at the very end to not die.
Yep, avoids double zaps in the fight as well to make sure that he is going to survive. Okay, LYON now just going to be clearing waves. We do have a Cloud Drake coming up in 11 seconds time. And let's check in on the Coinbase gold grind. Berserker versus Gala here once again, and it's a big lead.
Love this
for
picture.
This Aphelios.
200 more gold from minions, 579 from the kill. So the gold lead almost completely from the 2-0 on the kill score.
Yep. not quite able
that's
to get
a lot of people top lane. That's 5 people top lane.
Okay, well, Dokla might be dying here, ladies and gentlemen. As he does get knocked up, the Infernal Chain's not going to pull back Xiaoshu, as it looks like LYON are going to trade this for a dragon. And wait a second, is Dokla just going to be okay? Flashes towards Junja as he was tanking up the turret. There's the Super Mega Death Rocket, and down will go this Aatrox. Junja almost dead for his trouble. They traded for a Drake. Is this going to be enough? As now Honkyu, once again, good rebuttal. As, of course, a little bit telegraphed is the Emperor's Divide. So Honkyu going to be able to avoid that CC.
Yeah, Saint definitely had a tempo token after they 5-man Dokla in the top lane.
Yeah,
to go for that play. Gets the ultimate trade. Just testing Honkyu's ability to react. And Berserker, with still no role quest complete, is swapped early, just a little bit early. He'll still be able to get his role quest and call very soon to be completed as well.
Yep, he's got his scoped on as well. So making sure that he rushes that item, of course buffed on this patch, and feels like everyone wants to buy this if they can.
Especially long-range team fighting AD carries.
Although I feel like the best team fights are when you've got the Severum and Crescendum, which is quite short range.
True. Still the best.
You can certainly make that Calibrum get some things done, as Honkyu gonna have to flash out of the way of Saint here this time around. Didn't have Emperor's Divide, but still just didn't want to risk it. And Berserker, who had a look at the gold grind before, he's now going to add a fair bit of turret money to that one with these plates that are going down.
Yeah, in Berserker we trust, man.
Yep.
If we're going to be winning this game for LYON, Saint sidestepping, yet another Q. The biggest problem in this game is Xiaoshu's Scion. I mean, the fact that he's already 600 gold ahead, he's already stacked a ton of armor, has the Sunfire Cape, and Saint's not in a position where he can kill him at all yet. I mean, he had to do Merc Treads for the early move speed in MR against the Mel, so delays his first item Power Spike.
Yep, and you need to buy an Ashes because you're Azir.
Yep.
And so we'll see what he does build second. There's a lot of debate on second items for Azir more recently. I personally hate Rylai's Crystal Scepter.
Okay.
I just feel like it doesn't do enough, but everyone does seem to like it as Gala misses a cannon. Berserker's in his head, man. It's happened. It's a -1 in the chat. But I'd like to see a Liandry's built, just because I do agree with you. I think this Scion is public enemy #1.
It might work if for the long front line, you could do the Chovy and build a Proto Belt.
That's true.
A lot of people don't like that, but Chovy has done
I don't like that either. Although I feel like if you want a there's players that just really like Proto Belt, and they just build on absolutely everything. As Dokla is going to find a Q3, and it looks like it may not have even hit, because Xiaoshu is just not taking damage.
Yeah, I mean, Xiaoshu had the wave frozen on Dokla, so Dokla has to try and break the freeze. It's going to be bouncing back towards his turret, but Dokla probably going to have to reset and try and home guard out. Look at the gold difference in these games. A lot of back and forth games. You can see LYON winning the majority of early games and narrowly winning this game in the early game as well.
Ooh, Inspired goes in. They were looking for the rebuttal. Honkyu holds onto it. Takes the Lantern to safety, as now Shelly has been started up here by JDG. 4-man strong for now. And there is a Scion moving up the river. The train could leave the station and become a real problem here if LYON do decide to go for any sort of commitment. So it looks like they are just going to give this one up. Should be the Rift Herald going over to JDG. And I do not blame LYON for not going for that.
For sure, especially with Scion being able to enter the fight and having no real way of killing Scion. So LYON does have to kind of bide their time until their carries can scale up a little bit more. I do think that if they do get a full item Azir Aphelios, then the tankiness of the Scion would matter a little bit less. But I think the mid-game spike with Scion's tank stats and just Mel's bursty kit is going to favor a little bit of JDG in the mid-game.
Yeah, and if they can then get those fights in the mid-game, it's Gala that's going to be the biggest benefactor, and then the Jinx becomes a gigantic problem. Has already cashed in the Cull, and is looking for that item #2 to come on up, and is down about 800 gold. But that's the thing that could really change off the back of Xiaoshu being so big.
Absolutely. And a bit of a tangent, but I haven't gotten the chance to talk much about the Taba interview that we had yesterday. I know he talked about drafting in triangles and squares.
We did talk about
lane.
shapes a lot.
But the other thing that I really liked about that interview, it almost brought me back to really early League of Legends when I was playing, when he's saying like, oh, what is the strongest way to play? Is it through bot lane? Actually, no, the globals countered us. Like, there's certain basics about League of Legends that are just always true. And I feel like Tabe hasn't forgotten those things, even though he's been a coach for so long, as we see Honkyu with no flash getting engaged on.
Well, there's the Arctic Assault flash, and the hook is going to come through just after the rebuttal wears off. Beautiful timing there from Isles, and down will go Honkyu, and Dokla getting some much-needed money in this game.
Yeah, really important for him to flank the sides of teamfights, because the Aatrox can actually be a big threat to the Jinx and the Mel if they're able to get through the Scion at some point. So pretty crucial that they're able to get that kill. Now that they have the Azir laning up against the Sion with their current lane assignments.
Yep. As Isles,
nice play.
He is just sidestepping everything.
He's in flow state at the moment.
He certainly is.
He's playing an incredible series.
Isles is locked in, wants that game number 5, and we'll see whether he can get it. Obviously, it will be Berserker that will be the one tasked with making it happen later on into this game, as another hook is going to go wide.
The fastest Nautilus I've ever seen.
He's nimble in that Big Daddy suit. That's all right. Rift Herald going to go down. It's going to be JDG looking to deny this, and we haven't really spoken about it, but it's a Hextech Soul this game. LYON would like to be able to take this one, but they don't really need to. Double Dragon was already secured by them, as Rift Herald is going to be on their mind instead, as the hook is going to connect onto Isles this time around. The box does go down there as well, as he does have the Aftershock to keep himself alive, and it keeps himself alive the entire time. Berserker looking to chase down the rest of JDG after they wasted so much trying to kill this Nautilus, and Gala has to use Barrier to survive.
Woo. Berserker goes to push him back. That, I think, could have been a one fight for LYON if Inspired's ultimate was just a little bit closer. It blew up for the slow, but didn't actually land a stun onto anyone. So Drake over to JDG. I do think LYON was just going to take the wave and not want to opt into a fight where Sion could arrive, or they could fight the mid-game Mel, because that's how they actually lose the game.
Well, Honky here towards his bottom side is continuing to push things in towards Dokla. And as far as the gold is concerned, 700, 800 is the lead that LYON does have. As now Dokla chasing after Honky here. He doesn't have a lot of buttons left available. Finds the Q there. Second Q comes on forward as well, as Saint is going to make his way in, but Junja should be able to catch him there as well. And now is it him that's on the wrong position on the map? But of course, Isles is going to be there, so he's going to be able to back up his mid laner. It is going to be Dokla going back home though, so they have to play a little bit carefully.
Yep, I think they lose a little bit of tempo from that. Sion never had to leave top. They burned the teleport.
Token?
They've lost the token.
Oh, no.
Well, they spent their token. The token was the teleport.
Got it.
So now the token goes over to JDG, also known as it's now JDG's turn.
And now I'm imagining it like tempo. A talking stick. You know, like when you have the group meetings and you have to hand the stick over and it's like your turn to avoid people interrupting one another.
It could work. I mean, this is how brainstorming works. Eventually we'll arrive on something that is simpler, maybe calling it tempo, but we're not there yet. We need to do the exploration.
Yeah, no, we're definitely not there yet. We're iterating. As Vampire is going to be flaying them back. Does land the hook there onto Isles as well, as who gets thrown into the enemy team. The train just drives past them as Dokla thankfully avoids getting knocked up by that one. Somehow Isles is still alive and wants to continue fighting, as Berserker with Crescendum Calibrum is pretty scary from long range, but now has the Infernum as well. Moonlight Vigil comes down. Gala taking so much damage from that one. Man, that'll hurt so much more later on in this game. Thankfully right now doesn't quite have the items that he wants, but still, there's a bit of a taste test.
Boy, we are in for some team fights later on in this game. Good thing Saint has Mercury Treads there, doesn't let them chain the CC. Fairly unreliable engage on the side of JDG, as we're seeing in these fights. Even Sion ulting in and kind of cornering off the Sejuani doesn't mean they can really do anything. The Mel CC, short duration. The Thresh hooks, hard to land, also short duration. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for JDG to stick online in team fights.
I feel like it's Junja or bust, right? He has to like flash in and get the heroic charge to really lock them down. But that is very hard commitment to make that one happen. Of course, you can just throw out death sentences over and over and see what sticks.
True.
But it hasn't really been sticking with this live Nautilus on the other side.
Berserker's
in front of everything.
Berserker's in his comfort zone for sure. 1.1 thousand gold ahead of Gala.
True.
Once again, but incredible scaling on the Cephalios. And because of the kind of lack of hard engage, not having a Thresh or a Lulu, currently not looking like a massive concern. As long as they have a way of As long as LYON has a way of pushing Hongq kind of outside of the fights, that's the only big thing that's going to stop Berserker from being able to hit, is having to dodge and worry about those mage skill shots.
Well, Berserker's going to have to worry about the Vampire possibly getting on top of him. Does have to stop that back, because it was a little bit of an optimistic one. Some crystalline overgrowth building up here towards his bottom side as Hongq, with the help of Junja, should be able to take down this outer turret. This is going to be the second of the game for JDG. Just making the map as dark as possible, and LYON's gold advantage is kind of dissipating here.
Slipping away. I do feel like this is the stage of the game where the JDG champs are on their biggest power spikes, though. Really got to respect the Mel and the Sion right now, before you have Lord Doms on Berserker, or before Saint has 2-3 items with the Void Staff. So it makes sense that JDG's winning these small battles, as long as LYON prevents them from winning a big 5-0 team fight, because that, if one team takes a bad team fight at this point, the Baron's gone, and the game is probably decided on that play. Since these comps are so similar, if one gets very ahead of the other, it's very hard to come back.
Yeah, I do have to say, Liandry's now completed here for this Azir, and so Xiaoshu becomes a little bit more mortal.
I mean, this is the right choice when you're playing a strong front line and you're doing front to back. No Proto Belt, no Rylai's. The Liandry's against tanks, marginally better.
I like it a lot. As now JDG grouped up around this second Hextech Dragon of the game. Would be their second Drake, and LYON looking for Soul Point. I imagine that LYON are thinking that they do want to fight for this, as the death sentence does go a little bit wide, but there is so much control, and like you were saying, it's a bit of a spike for JDG at this moment.
I think LYON would be fine if they get a turret off of this and the Drake goes. It looks like they're trading control for topside. If Berserker's close to the right guns, they might just try and burst
honestly,
this down.
They have so much Baron damage.
No, they're just playing this back and forth, threatening the Baron damage.
They do have a lot of it, though, so if they're given spare time...
the Drake? I think he is.
He seems to be wandering around it at the moment. Dokler is rotating over as it's taking Xiaoshu quite a long time to kill this Drake, but they're not really checking it. They don't have information. It is just going to be the mid wave being pushed on forward. Gala is going to move on over, and he has the damage. So this Drake is just going to be taken. There is the hook connecting onto Inspired, onto Isles, sorry.
Well played. Well played by JDG. They haven't given up turrets.
Yeah, just keep it leashed. Can LYON actually find an angle here? But on the retreat, I mean, it's so difficult to lock them down.
Yeah, so much mid-prio, but then also because JDG was able to retreat, not even a plate goes down, and no Baron goes down. So JDG wins the game of chicken against LYON for sure. LYON doesn't trade really anything back for that Drake.
Very respectfully played here by LYON. But as you were saying, I mean, I think that the better times are in the future here for a composition like this. And without Gala being able to get these resets in these teamfights is possibly going to be killable, depending on the positioning of Vampire here with his Lantern.
Oh, if he does reset, though.
I mean, it's pretty doomed.
Yeah, it's Pentakill City in a game like this.
Berserker has been pretty good so far this entire series. So he might be someone that LYON fans can rely on. Right now, JDG does feel like they have control. I don't want to say tempo vibes again, but I believe they do have them.
They have tempo, I agree.
Inclined to say that.
LYON didn't use their token well, though, when JDG grouped in River for the Drake.
I feel like they could have wasted token. Maybe it is going to be a rush Baron angle.
It can be at some point. I mean, with the Azir Aphelios, they kill it incredibly quickly once Berserker has the right guns. That's something that JDG is going to have to worry about this whole time. If they're going to rush Baron, it would be on the next Drake.
Okay.
But I don't even know if that play is worth it in Modern League with how Baron Gold was half this season.
Yeah.
I've just not seen big-time Baron power plays, and I think the Soul Point is going to be more valuable in this game. It'll really just depend on whether or not we have Lord Doms on Aphelios, and if they think they can kill the Scion, whether or not LYON decides to contest the next Drake.
And I feel like Berserker has been out on the map for quite some time as well. We'll see whether he does have enough money to complete that third item.
He's got exactly the same items as Gala, but the scoreboard tells us he has 1,000 more gold.
Yep.
So he has at least 1,000 gold in his inventory.
I feel like he should be 1,000 gold ahead. That's right. Saint clears out this top wave. And let's see how he uses his token.
Yeah,
He's going to go back home?
You spend a token to recall.
Ah, that's what he's going to use.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah, there we go. Gives him his reset. Now you've got Honky's turn. He's going to push that one out. And it does mean that things have slowed down. It's still an 800 gold lead for LYON, but I'm looking at these Hextech Dragons and Quadra Hextech Soul.
Mel.
Yeah.
I will say.
Not fun.
Data point.
Uh-huh. I do like data points.
LYON beat a Hextech Soul Mel in LCS Finals.
Ooh.
It was a Mel bot lane, and it was Cloud9, but it happened.
All right, that's enough experience. As Hook is going to connect onto Isles here, gets thrown back into the box. There's the depth charge, going to connect onto Honky at the same time. As Vampire needed to get himself out of there. Once again, Isles just survives the rebuttal. He's going to go down. Oh, all of the flashes come through, but the death sentence is for Saint, and now Gala gets excited. Into the front line goes Xiaoshu as well as the Scion turns up with infinity health. What the heck is that health bar? As he wanders towards Berserker, flashes in. I'm not sure about that one, as there is a flash forward from Dokler, does manage to shut down Gala right there, and out goes Inspired, back in goes Isles, but the follow-up damage just is not there. And in fact, on both sides, the damage is kind of missing outside of Dokla, who does want to try and put them down. The health bars of JDG are low, but they still win the fight.
And the heart rate is high after that one. That was insane. Both Saint and Berserker saw their hero moment, and it was not, in fact, their moment. But Dokla saves it by getting the execute on Gala. That means the damage kind of ran out for JDG there. Once Gala was down, Dokla could kind of walk wherever he wanted, but watching the start of this fight again, it was looking so good for LYON. As we were talking about, if you win a fight in a big way, you get the Baron and probably win the whole game. So Saint sees no reflect on Honkyu, but everyone flashes as the hook is lining up, and they get the reset. Then the teleport shield is still on the Scion, which is why he has infinity health. And Berserker, what did he see? He sees Gala, and he thinks he can kill him. Technically, they can afterwards. Not worth a flash from the Aphelios, but then afterwards, you can see there's no damage left, and it actually ends up just being a 2-for-1, and we're back on the map.
On second watch, I mean, I feel like the first time seeing it in the moment, I felt like I was with Berserker. In the replay, I didn't.
That was a lot of health left on Gala.
Yeah, I didn't really feel it,
and a barrier.
As it turned out.
Yeah. If the Aatrox was there first, as long as we're doing, lies, it would have been fine.
Well, I mean, I think that because he did have the option of not flashing in.
Yes.
The out option was there.
I do think, though, if they don't kill Gala, they probably lose Baron.
Yeah.
I don't think they can contest it without the
flash in was good.
Yeah, but then the flash doesn't work if that doesn't happen. But they're on a ward. They don't realize that the Baron is very fast, and they're trying to trade the soul for this. I think they get it if they commit.
I mean,
they're
it's soul point. It's not even the soul.
They're scared off by the Scion ult, though. They're going to be on soul point anyway, and they're not going to trade it.
Oh, dear. It is going to reset.
Gala's not there.
Yeah, so
LYON
that is
the bluff.
That is just soul point going on over to JDG. And LYON, unfortunately, once again, misused. They dropped the token. It fell down the drain.
Yeah.
Or something like that, unfortunately. They will be able to grab this cross-map outer turret. So Berserker getting a bit of extra money is certainly good news. Does feel a little bit like LYON are playing scared, but this might not be that opportunity, as there is the rebuttal. Beautifully done, but the hook is actually going to be used as engaged. Dokla gets into a great position, trying to jump on top of Honkyu, but I think he's just dead. Yeah, Gala is going to get excited once again, as Berserker is fighting Xiaoshu. This time around, though, he does have the Lord Doms, and Moonlight Vigil is going to connect. The rebuttal throws it back! Man, he has that up every time he needs it, and now the Scion goes in one more time. Super Mega Death Rocket not even needed, as Berserker is dead, and JDG, they'll find the Baron right there after they win the team fight.
Just a sequence of positive plays by JDG and head scratchers by LYON. They've taken the top turret, they lost the standoff at Seoul, and then they lose this fight in a big way. So Saint has ultimate here. When he swooped in, I thought he was going to flip Vampire back. Decides not to. And then they all kind of chase into the turret. Dokla ends up dying. I thought they were just going to kill the flashless Thresh.
Yeah.
When they don't do that, it goes from bad to worse as Saint falls to the Mel. And then Berserker with no flash in the river can just get run down by the
that must have been like perfect timing on the rebuttal. The rebuttal cooldown is massive.
Really well played.
And I think right as it came back up again, Honkyu has the perfect angle to find another one. Dokla, you can see, not exactly psyched about it. And the Baron over to JDG here. It just a couple of minutes to play with it.
Just looks like LYON is second-guessing themselves. After the team fight where Saint and Berserker both failed their flashes, Saint a little hesitant on the ultimate, but then the hesitancy ends up being a death sentence against a team who can team fight as well as JDG. And now the 1,000 gold lead the Berserker had is 1,000 gold lead on the side of Gala, and LYON's going to need some help.
Certainly are. Let's see whether they can find themselves a team fight. Like, still Berserker is doing a lot of damage. 3.5 items is certainly a big deal, but everything went right in that last team fight. There is the Glacial Prison to come on down, but Xiaoshu is even going to get Mikhail's actually to get on out of that one, but I don't think it really did and damage, if I was counting. So LYON is just going to do their very best to defend, holding on to their inhibitor turrets for now. They still have a lot of team fight in them, and the Ducks aren't necessarily as much in a row. Like JDG, everything went right. What if in the next fight everything goes right for LYON? I imagine
Can it's game 2 again?
Ooh, maybe it's game 5 though, Jad.
That would be the hope, but it is looking pretty good for JDG right here. Gala close to Infinity Edge. Once he gets that, he's going to be extremely powerful with the Thresh, with the Mikhails, and with everyone having flashes up. If they're playing behind their Scion, it doesn't seem likely that LYON would be able to find a good fight.
Well, Inner Turret is not worth defending, so that one will go down. LYON not going to be dying on that hill, absolutely. Dokul looking for a flash angle and has actually found his way in, I'm pretty sure, without being seen. Thankfully for LYON, the Soul didn't actually go over. Fighting into a Hextech Soul with this composition. Zap is definitely very accurately named. We do like that, but the Mel is also going to be hugely problematic. So, not wanting to give that one up, and do still have a minute and a half to try and get themselves into gear, as the Baron will expire in 18 seconds time, but a 2,000 Rebel Baron power play is a pretty good one here, putting them at about 5,000 gold in the lead.
Yeah. And JDG not trying to take any risks here, knowing that Hextech Soul is up in 1 minute 10 seconds. Push mid, push bot, don't care about top lane because they have full control of both waves and good vision in the jungle. So anywhere that LYON has to walk, they kind of have to face check. And then if they face check into a Thresh hook, that's half of someone's health with the current Jinx items, and LYON's just going to have a bad time. So you can't really give Hextech Soul, but you can't really walk your way in.
Yeah, you can't give it, but you also can't get there.
Yes. It's a win if LYON has 5 people in river while Hextech Soul is getting hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they tried to get some vision down there, but that doesn't quite work out. Thankfully, this little cheeky ward is able to do something. They do have a Scryer's Bloom on the map to spot that there are control wards in their jungle. But look at this. I mean, there are wards littering the area as we scan around the map. And JDG making sure that the lights are off for LYON.
Yeah, they might just try and make a fast play onto Xiaoshu. Not that you can kill the Scion fast, but at least it would draw JDG out of the vision.
Yep, and they can all do this together as well, so looking to try and get there as a 5-man unit is certainly what you want to do. Inspired, just tanking things up with his frozen armor, frost armor.
Yeah, and now Dokla's kind of in river, so they've kind of done it. They've made it through to near river while the Drake is still up. So that's step one.
There's the flash in from Isles, looking to try and get that knock up as the hook is going to connect onto this Nautilus. Gala down to 50% health, and the Drake hasn't been taken just yet. In goes Inspired, wanting to try and take down this Dragon. Can he deny the Soul? That is the question. No, he cannot. There is the Soul over to JDG, and now they're looking for the team fight. Berserker still alive for now as Xiaoshu will be taken down. Into the backline goes Dokler as well. He was able to do a bit of work, but it's a triple kill for Gala, and down goes the Aphelios. The ace is completed for JDG, and they got the Drake off the back of it.
They had to work hard to get the chance at a Smite Steal, but they just couldn't convert on the Smite Steal. Once they over-invested there, they were also likely to lose the fight, so Soul acquired for JDG.
And maybe even a push towards ending the game as well, as they're looking for this inhibitor turret on the bottom side of the map.
They got time.
Yeah, these respawns, I mean, it's going to be 7 seconds on Isles, but I don't think he's going to be able to defend this one. And Honkyu is up and available. Gala is alive as well, getting excited, moving towards these Nexus turrets. This Jinx just obliterates structures in front of him. And Gala is not going to be perturbed by this Nautilus. Inspired's turn now just to throw his body at the problem. Is able to take down Junja and then flash out to keep himself alive. And that may have actually kept the game at least alive for a little bit longer for LYON.
Yeah, keeps their first stand alive for now. They're also trying to teleport in. This is an Aatrox. If they can get the Jinx Mel, would at least be a lot of gold.
Yeah, teleport does come through from Xiaoshu, whose health bar is looking even more than infinity, which I know is impossible, but it does look larger than when I said it was infinity before. Now Saint looking to try and find an angle as Hex Gates will be able to bring Inspired in as well. Could this be an opportunity? Can they kill Gala? That's going to be the question as Saint almost dies to a Super Mega Death Rocket. There is the Glacial Prison that comes down as well. And I think LYON have decided that maybe this is not the play that they want to go for.
They couldn't get Berserker through, and Saint took too much damage trying to chase, so it was ultimately just a 4v4. They had to back away.
But Baron.
Yeah, go for it.
Take the token and run, right?
Go for it. They have white and green guns. Aphelios kills it very fast. Scion will ult in to this Baron pit, and the Hex Gates make them back on the map. But this is as good a chance the LYON's going to get.
Yep. I mean, there's a rock in front of the pit, so it's not exactly an open door. Let's see whether Xiaoshu can get himself in there, but man, this goes down so incredibly fast. It is going to be secured there, but is this going to be the end of the game? On top of that is Inspired extraordinarily low. The mill damage is just gigantic as Berserker doesn't quite find the Moonlight Vigil, and now they just need to get the heck out as Isles already to go down. Dokla will be able to make his way out, and JDG not going to chase.
Took Baron off the map. That's going to delay JDG's chances of winning yet again. They're just trying to play on the slim margins right here. JDG's in such a powerful position. GA up onto Gala with the Hextech Soul for the Mel. They are shredding through LYON. Isles are down for another 25 seconds, but there's no Baron minions. It makes it a little bit harder for JDG to try to end.
Yeah, Hextech Soul, man, it is so incredibly difficult to deal with this. As Glacial Prison not really doing too much of anything at all onto Junja, who's just pretty tanky at this point in time.
But you know what's not tanky? The minions.
True.
They need the minions to make the turret.
The minions are tanky on the LYON side, though. Those minions are doing well.
Which is why LYON is keeping this game going.
Well, are they? Oh, no. Okay, so I don't know whether you guys have this as well, but we in the LCK have a saying, when in doubt, Elder flip.
I'm down. If they can get to the Elder, flip it.
Right?
Because that's going to be the struggle like it was with the Soul. Watching this fight one more time, Isles kind of sacrifices himself to not let anybody through. Berserker and Saint nearly took down Junja, but he was able to sidestep the ultimate, and then everyone just has to run. There's always a chance of a comeback, but I just want a chance to say this since this is possibly the last game we're going to see for LYON. I think they played these early games very well, and it's going to be hard for them to have a positive takeaway from the tournament after if they lose 3-1, but that would be the positive takeaway. The mistakes that they made were in their hands, which is a privilege against top LPL and LCK teams that they're playing against here. So
I think that it's going to make it better and worse at the same time.
It's going to make it hurt more.
All of these games were winnable.
But the fact that they had the ability to win with slightly better play in the mid and late game could be encouraging for LYON as they move forward to the rest of the year. If they lose this game.
Yeah, and if they make sure that they use the right takeaway. You know, sometimes that is something that's going to be necessary. As 4,000 gold, basically nothing at 40 minutes into the game. Gold is not going to matter. This health bar is going to be the problem, and Hextech Soul, and the fact that they have full control of this Elder Dragon area.
That is 6 thick lines, so that's 6,000 health on the side.
And it's only going to get worse. Or better. Damage Champions is looking pretty good here for Gala, but you can see Berserker is right behind him. Not a massive amount here for Saint. Does now have the Rabadon's Death Cap completed. This is full damage Azir.
Yeah.
I would have personally liked Azonya's to be fit in there at some point, but if he finds an angle for an Emperor's Divide, he could just kind of win the game off the back of it.
I kind of want him to not use that ability. I think he needs to focus on killing kind of what's in front of him. If he ever swoops in, since he's such a high percentage of the damage, he's like two-shot by anyone who's in range of him.
That is a good point.
So if they win a fight, that's when I feel like he should swoop in, but they need to get the first kill or two first would be my read. And I also think Death Cap is kind of the only play when you're behind. You don't have the luxury of building the defensive items.
Ooh, Hook is going to come on forward here.
They are going to
try to kill
Berserker
the
does damage.
Yeah, Berserker does have his Bloodthirst now completed. He does a lot of damage. Xiaoshu might need to be teleporting back into this fight. Does want to do so to get that big old shield anyway.
Yeah.
As Dokla wants to deny it. And it's very dark on that portion of the map.
Elder flip, 4 seconds.
Hook going to connect onto Inspired, but Inspired is not too worried about it. Dokla's still just biding his time, wants as much information as possible.
Yeah, he's trying to find the Scion. He was unable to, so Scion's going to be able to teleport back with the Giga Shield. But
Dokla's position is kind of insane, though, at this point in time, as he's finally spotted on that flank ward. Inspired will be able to make this a 50-50. Let's see who's going to be able to lock down the Dragon. As Dokla getting into that backline, it's going to be taken by Junja. They will kill him for it. It's red-white guns for Berserker, but I just don't think that is going to be enough, as the Dragon's Wrath is going to come down onto LYON and will take away their opportunities here at first stand. JDG, they have a date with BLG, and they're looking to lock it in right now as Honkyu teleports to the enemy base.
Dokla trying to hold it off for as long as possible, but it is fighting against the impossible as JDG have 4 in the base.
Oh man, I do love the idea though. They went for the flip. Unfortunately, Junja is able to lock that one down yet again, and JDG will pick up the 3-1 victory.